Yes. Yes. Is the microphone working? All right. Come on now. Don't be afraid. Ready to have some fun? Come on. Oh, yes. Come on now. All right. I gotta say, Facebook people, let me know you're here. YouTube people, let me know you're here. X/shitter/Molly.com people, let me know you're here. Crack.com. I'm calling X crack now. If everybody's gonna say they're on X, I'm gonna say they're on crack. That's just all there is to it. And let me know you're here. Twitch, tell them what's up. Hit that subscription. I gotta say, if the Midas Touch Brothers got 3 million, we gotta get 1 million over here. We can do that. We can do that. I know I'm long form, but everybody's cribbing off my notes. They might as well come to the source of the spring water. Come on. Let's hear it in the chat room for Andrea, for Can't Stop Lying, and for Mark Kremer. Give them some love. And hit that like, everybody, before we get started. I mean, we're started kind of, you know what I mean? Like the real show started. Not, well, this is the real show. I hate this. Terrible. What happens if I push this button?
Oh, yeah, that's normal.
That's not good.
We are going to be a country no more. I actually think it will not. It will be a country no more.
Thanks, champ. Thanks. That's, yeah. Way to be on it.
Here I am like an idiot.
Uh-huh.
Free health care for illegal. Look.
You what?
Here I am like an idiot.
Michigan gave us Motown. Gave us Motown. Gave us the Mustang.
All right, here we go. Let's get started. Let me try this. What happens if I push this button?
I like fighting number 2.
Oh, that's clearly not it. Here we go. And click. There we go. Hi. Welcome to the show, everybody. How you doing? Happy State of the Onion Day. Let's say hello to our chat room who have gathered it. Hello. Look at you lovely people. Look at them. Look at them visiting me up here at Deep Space Nine, or you know what I should call this place? This is Deep State Nine. See what I did there? Because I'm Hal Sparks. I'm the Democratic machine. I am the deep state. I may not hit the bottom, but I'll scrape the shit out of the sides. You know what I'm saying? Hi there, everybody. I have to say, if you need a hobby, and you don't have one already, and you just want to, or you need an internet hole to crawl down where there is no, you will not see daylight anytime soon. Jump into the Candace Owens, P. Diddy cabal of Jews and gays and gay Jew black gay people that run everything, not just Hollywood. Even though, how the fuck Diddy became Hollywood? And by the way, his name is Sean Combs. I gotta say, I'm cool with your nicknames. I really am. You know what I mean? But you should also maintain your regular name, maybe. I don't give a shit. Anyways, if you want to see someone in the middle of like an absurd level of fucking like, I don't know, homophobic, anti-Semitic, fear of a black panic, but Black Planet Panic. Yeah, that's what it is, Janet. Check out that business. I don't know how I ended up even looking at it. I guess it was just because the lawsuit that came out against him that said he was part of, he was basically the Harvey Weinstein of hip hop or some shit. And I give a shit, but I mean, I feel for victims when there are victims, and that's kind of important. But in terms of like this idea that's going around that somehow that like sexual predators and the like not only are present in show business, like they, by the way, are present fucking everywhere. I'd like to remind everybody that BTK, the BTK killer, was not a producer or of albums or movies. Dude was a deacon and worked for a security company for a little while, and then was an insurance adjuster, I think, or some shit like that. So this weird shit that somehow Hollywood and politics has a lock on the evil people is a bit stupid. I think what it should make you aware of is that when those people are in the showbiz world or in politics, they tend to, when they're found out, it's a much bigger story, right? That's because they're already a big story, and then kaboom, right? Whereas, you've got the, people like Ted Bundy and John Wayne Gacy and all these, like Ed Gein and any number of monsters, even Epstein. Epstein wasn't in show business. He was around politics even, but he was really in finance. If you want to nail down what fucking business that dude was in, he was in like the sketchy world of derivatives and leveraged finance, which is full of fucked up cokehead weirdos. Anyway, it's the world of, it literally is a world of Patrick Bateman, right? Oh, thanks. You guys like the shirt? I've had this shirt for a long time, and it's been in the closet, and I haven't worn it. And I like set it aside because I was like, I want to put it on. And I literally had another shirt on right before the show. That's what I was fiddling around doing back behind the scenes, by the way. But I had shown too many people my cupping scars today, and I stretched the collar out. It looked like shit. So did you see that though? Yeah, freeze frame that shit. That she got in there good today. I have if you need an acupuncturist in Las Vegas, hit me up. So I'm sorry it's gross. It's true. It looks like it sucked. Yeah, looks like I was wrestling a squid. Stop cupping. No, it helped. Specifically, we did dynamic cupping today, and it worked like a charm. So there. That's right. It's not cupping scars. It's alien tentacle love. Thank you for not minding your, thank you for minding your own business. Meanwhile, check this out. This is the State of the Union right now. These are all the people gathered for the State of the Union. I gotta say, when Trump was president, there was a lot of media attention around the State of the Union, mainly because, or the State of the Bunyan or the Bonian, depending on how you like to pronounce it. Mainly because we were all white knuckling to see if Trump would come out and just like during the State of the Union, curse one of his sexual assault victims, or in the case, I mean, in some ways, just the fact that he recognized Rush Limbaugh was a bit fucked up. But on the scale of Trump fucked up, it was relatively minor. You know what I mean? It was like gross, and finally saying goodbye to the dude essentially was what would happened. And it'd be one thing if it was like in the mid 90s or even the early 2000s, but like the dude is making the guy stand up and waving at him when he has literally gone deaf because of his own drug use, where he got his own cleaning lady to like fly with 30,000 oxy pills, right? That shit. Yes, a bit fucked up. I mean, on the Tricenia, on the scale of fucked up stuff that Trump does. You know what I mean? Like his scale is so off the charts for everybody else that even like for anybody else it would almost be a career ender, but for him it was like relatively minor, right? Yeah. I hope Hal never does ads. I'm not doing ads, so you're welcome. Thanks, Patreon people. By the way, patreon.com/HalSparks. That's my only ads. And then you can Venmo me and all that kind of stuff. And if you want to super chat, one of the best ways to make sure that I never have to do ads is super chat and stars if you're on Facebook. And I don't know if Twitter pays its way or anything. But anyways, yes, everybody's hanging out in Statuary Hall waiting for this State of the Union. But Trump has already decided he's going to pre-buttal. Is this it? No. Is this it? No. Is this it? No. Is this it? This is it. This is it. Donald J. Trump's pre-buttal to Joe Biden's State of the Union. So he doesn't give a shit what Biden's actually going to say. He's just going to say his own piece. And I have no idea how long this is. It's 3 minutes and 38 seconds. Say what you will about Trump, but he doesn't have much to say, and he doesn't spend much time saying it unless he's in front of a live audience, in which case he will bore them with the same shit 4 fucking times. I have to say, the clip that we did of him on RSBN being interviewed by the dude that bumps uglies with Marjorie Taylor Greene, the way he kind of went back to the same talking point 3 times in a row, there's like it used to be a moment that would seem like muscle memory and like he's a master of propaganda. That's how people would have taken it back in the day, even though I think arguably he's been as befuddled before as he is now, and it might be a result of the drugs that he takes. But in that particular instance, I think most people watched it and went, "Oh, shit." So let's give it a look, see, shall we? This is the pre-buttal.
Joe Biden is on the
That's not
run
loud.
from his record.
Joe Biden is on the run from his record. No, he isn't. He's going to be bragging about his record, dummy.
And lying like crazy to try and escape accountability for the horrific devastation.
Hi, dummy. He hasn't said anything yet. I mean, it's okay to but coming as someone who's obviously everything's projection, so he's lying like crazy every day of his life. So there you go.
He and his party have created, all the while they continue the very policies that are causing this.
Hold on, back up. Say that as a whole fucking sentence.
Accountability for the horrific devastation he and his party have created, all the while they continue the very policies that are causing this horror show to go.
Jesus. All right. I thought he just kind of blew past a comma there. What the hell? All the while to go.
Joe Biden is on the run from his record and
Okay, that was a sentence. Here we go. And lying his ass
lying
off.
like crazy to try and escape accountability for the horrific devastation he and his party have created, all the while they continue the very policies that are causing this horror show to go.
All right. Shit. I don't know what the fuck all the while was supposed to do there. Yeah, I'm sorry the audio is low. I'll see if I can boost it up a little bit on his end. Yeah, it's as high as it's going to go. Stupid shit. Maybe there's a. I'll hold on before we jump in there. Real quick, let me go back to the chat room. I'm gonna see real quick if let's see if like Forbes will sometimes put it. See if yeah. Trump led by yeah. This is okay. So here you go. This is that hopefully this will be louder. There we go. This is the New York Post has posted it because his own shitty channel sounds like crap.
Run from his record and lying like crazy to try and escape accountability for the horrific devastation he and his party.
Seriously, did somebody throw like a? Is there somebody with like shooting spit wads at you that we can't see? Because all the while
have created, all the while they continue the very policies that are causing this horror show to go.
To go. Give me a glazed donut and a bottle of anything. To go. Causing this horror show to go. I gotta say, like, in the causing this horror show in the first place, right? Causing this horror show, period. Just causing this horror show, causing the horror that you see on the streets.
We cannot take it any longer as a country.
We cannot take it any longer as a country. Look, I've been watching Resident Alien, and it's really hard for me to watch him and not think that he's like a side character on that show, an alien that's just learning how to use a human body and doesn't understand language yet, and learned only, you know, like talking points for like 6 of the worst, like first, second season Law and Order episodes.
Joe Biden's sad excuse for a State of the Union address aside, here are the facts.
By the way, he hasn't seen it yet. This is your pre-buttal, dumb fuck.
When I left office, we gave Joe Biden the most secure border in U.S. history.
No, you didn't. COVID did.
We gave him remain in Mexico. Very tough to get, but I got it.
It's illegal when you don't have Title 42. You didn't get it. Title 42 got it for you because we had a public health emergency. If you're saying you want more lockdowns, then just fucking say it.
Safe third agreements, the asylum ban, Title 42.
Okay. Safe third agreements. All right, say this again.
But I got it. Safe third agreements, the asylum ban, Title 42.
Safe third agreements, the asylum ban. I think it means like safe third country, or like the country that you went to before you came here. And you can't ban asylum. The fuck are you talking about?
571 miles of border wall, rapid deportations, and much more.
Why would you need rapid deportations if your wall fucking works? I'm serious. Wall's a piece of shit. Can we just agree on that?
At the safest border in the history of our country. As soon as he got in, Crooked Joe and his radical left lunatics
restarted the economy and made us the strongest economy on earth, and nobody can figure out why the fuck suddenly people want to come here like it's the goddamn late 90s again. Gee, I can't imagine if like whatever 8 out of 10 of the major South American economies have like 200% inflation. Why would anyone want to come here?
Deliberately dismantle each and every one of those policies that.
Well, I mean, you had to if you're going to stop the lockdowns, the quote-unquote lockdowns, and stop us from, you know, if there's no longer a public health emergency, then you don't have a reason to not grant asylum and all that kind of. You got to work it out. You got to become a country again. You can't just. I mean, again, this is, I would argue, this is Trump's version, a pandemic version, if you will, of the war on terror. No declarations of war, no specific like actions of war that have either attacks from the outside that have put us on a war footing and any of that shit. But the war on terror just kind of can rumble along. So this is him going, I'm going to borrow all the policies made possible by the pandemic, a global pandemic that was necessary, right? It was, that at the time, And I'm just going to keep those parts. We won't keep the pandemic part. But all the policies that come with an emergency will do that, which is illegal, makes no sense, is anti-American, is unconstitutional, blah, blah, blah. But that's what he wants. He wants all the benefits of a pandemic and all the special powers you get from a pandemic without the pandemic. Doesn't work that way. You got to fucking run the country like a grown-up.
That were so good that gave us this best border, according to Tom Homan, according to Brandon Judd, the top people. They said
who, by the way, were, I think, had to stay home. They were locked down too.
It was the single best border we've ever had.
Yeah, because we had more cases than Mexico did. Nobody wanted to come here.
In recorded history.
Again. All right. And then the wall stopped working?
What's happened now is a horror show.
It's a horror show. It's a horror.
The country, our country, is being...
Oh, I'm glad he clarified that. Is it important? It is important. Now, I still don't know if he means Russia. I'm fairly certain he does.
Being laughed at all over the world.
No, when you pick up the phone and people are automatically laughing, it's because they saw your number on the screen. And, they saw your name come up, and they just immediately wonder what this motherfucker's going to do. Hello, Donald. I'll put him on speakerphone. He's going to tell us, let me guess, that the next, he's going to say rigged and stolen right away. What do you think? Rigged and stolen. What'd I tell you? Fucking hell. Anyways, I'll just put it, I'll tell you what. I'll mute it and put it on speaker, and he'll just go. We'll just let it play in the background like a radio show. If there was only one ham radio guy who had lost his fucking mind and thought the world had ended and was broadcasting from his fucking bunker.
Over the past 3 years, Biden has actively aided and abetted the importation of millions and millions of illegal alien migrants and resettled them into
the importation of them. So they didn't walk. They came in containers.
To your communities.
In my community? Not in my community. It's your community. I mean, they work at Mar-a-Lago, you dumb fuck.
At any time during the past 3 years, crooked Joe Biden, and he is crooked as you can be, and the most incompetent president we've ever had.
He's as crooked as you can be, and without actually finding evidence that he's crooked. Obviously, there's a glass ceiling on the crooked. I mean, you would think if someone is as crooked as can be, it would be visible to the naked eye, and you would see it everywhere, we'd be up to our eyeballs in evidence, and therefore the crookedness would be crooked, and everybody go, Jesus Christ, what a crooked. I wouldn't even have to say it. You know what? It would be an unnecessary adjective, because everybody goes, yeah, why do you keep saying crooked? We all fucking know it's crooked everywhere. Of course. But he's just crooked enough so that you have to tell people, but not crooked enough where you can actually see the crooked. Even if you've looked through all of his taxes and all of his bank records and all of his son's taxes and all of his son's bank records and all of his brother's taxes and all of his brother's bank records, he's just crooked enough where you could think about it, but not crooked enough where it shows in any of those documents. He's threading the crooked needle. I got to tell you, I would say he's more like a fishhook.
Could have called off the invasion, but to this day, he is keeping the hordes of illegal migrants and illegal aliens pouring into the country. By the time is...
So what's the difference between the migrant and the aliens? The aliens, you say alien, that's invasion, clearly, or whatever. Just, but you're making a distinction between migrant and, I guess the migrants are staying is the idea, or coming for a job.
Term is up. We can have close to 20 million people.
We did the burger. Ooh. Sorry. Um, 20 million people. Oh, a million. A million. 20 million. Are you you listening to me? Why is no one screaming? I'm alone. I'm alone in here.
By the time his term is up, we could have close to 20 million people in our
Million people. I just pooped a little.
country. And we have no idea from where they come.
From why don't you just say whence? From, we have no idea from where they come. Here they come, walking down the street, get the funniest looks from everyone we meet. Hey, hey, we're the migrants.
We have no idea who they are. They have no identification.
Well, but we can tell by looking at them, can't we? I mean, by their face tattoos, and shouldn't they? I'm sorry, shouldn't we know from their like insane asylum hospital bans? Do they have any details on those things? Certainly, they're too crazy to cut them off. They walk up. Should we just check that? Well, at least we could tell the ones from the regular hospitals from the insane asylums because they're in hospital gowns with no underwear and the back's open and all that kind of stuff. And then some of them have big head bandages on, but that they just woke up from a psychotic coma and.
Many come from mental institutions.
How do you know? If you don't know from whence they come, from where they come, how do you know they come from mental institutions? Again, I make the case that if you release someone from a mental institution, you go, attack America, they're going to go, but the ladies are right here. Why would they walk all that way to be crazy when they could be crazy so close to home?
Many come from prisons. They're terrorists. We have a calamity the likes of which we've never seen before.
Well, and it's I will say that's because it's obviously an invisible calamity. And that's what makes it so insidious, because the American people, for some fucking reason, seem to keep going out to dinner and going to concerts and football games, and their kids are playing Little League again like a bunch of assholes. Don't they realize that this is calamity time? It's calamity time. We're calamitizing right now. It's calamity change. It's what's happening to America. It's a calamity. I can't believe you used the word calamity. Jesus Christ.
The very first bill Joe Biden sent to Congress was a plan to turn illegal aliens into voting citizens. That's just what we need.
No, it wasn't.
No matter what Crooked Joe says, his actions prove his priority.
Oh, by the way, having a pathway to citizenship for DACA recipients is not is not the same as turning illegal aliens into voters. But that's the way he wants it. And let me remind you, for all you like uncommitted motherfuckers out there, what he's telling you with that is that to him, the DACA kids are illegal immigrants and they will be part of the roundup. So while you're going, I don't know if I'm willing to give Joe Biden my vote. Joe Biden is trying to create a legal path for the Dreamers, and this motherfucker still says that children brought here by undocumented parents who have lived here their whole life, many of whom don't even speak the language of their nation of origin, he's like, we're going to round those motherfuckers up and put them on a plane and drop them off someplace. Because you guys thought, I don't know, what's the difference? 6 of one, half dozen of another.
Is to import a colossal new illegal alien population and let them all stay. My priority is securing our border and sending Crooked Joe's illegals back home. Likewise, the sight of a feeble Joe Biden talking about shrinkflation, the term he uses.
It's an actual, he'd make it up, but yes, it is. He's mentioned it recently.
Is one of the most ridiculous things this country has ever seen.
I have to say, there's a huge chart of ridiculous things this country has seen. I mean, don't get me started, but I would put in there a myriad of things you have said and done. Not the least of which I would think actually way up higher on the list would be evangelicals supporting a pussy grabbing, thrice married philanderer who talks about wanting to fuck his daughter. That goes as categorically as ridiculous goes, right up there. I don't know about just bringing up a early 2000s buzzword about something that's happened currently and that the government could do something about. Yeah.
Shrinkflation is just another way of saying inflation. It means that you're losing a lot of money.
But it's more specific than just losing a lot of money. You're losing a lot of money by getting a little less of something, and the solution to it would be different than, say, other ways you're losing money. But please explain to us all again how it works. Just so tell us first what it is, and then tell us that it's not a thing, and then tell us how you're going to solve it, even though it's not a thing.
Because these people don't know what they're doing.
Well, they're not doing this. The government isn't doing the shrinkflation. The MREs that go to the military, for example, are the ones we're dropping in Gaza. Same size, haven't lost a calorie. But a Snickers bar price goes up, size of the bar goes down. It's not the first time, by the way. It's not like they invented it just post-COVID. It's been around for a long time, and there's just, you either have to, this whole 30% bigger when they sell the regular, what used to be the regular size of the candy bar at a certain size as the jumbo, and now the regular one is way smaller, and they're sort of price fixing it. They're trying to squeeze their consumers. Now, again, I would argue, don't eat that shit. But in some cases, especially when it's a bag or a box or something, or it's detergent, shit like that, where you don't know how empty the box is till you get home.
It was all caused by crooked Joe Biden and the people that surround him. And they are radical left, Marxists and fascists and communists and socialists.
Well, I mean, I think you could just kind of pick one of those, right? You can't be all of them at once. I suppose you could be a Marxist socialist or whatever, and you can be a Marxist communist. But if you're a Marxist communist, you're looking at the Marxist socialists and going, what the fuck took you guys so long? And the Marxist socialists are probably looking at the Marxist communists and going, guys, we're never going to be able to keep in office if we go the way you guys are going. We got to dial it back a little bit. And the Marxist communists are like, office? Fuck, we care about office. We're going to set up a committee, and if you're in, you're in. If you're out, you're out. Fuck you. And then I guess the fascists are like, what am I doing here? My clothes look fantastic, but you guys are a bunch of vagabonds. This is embarrassing.
We have people running our country, the likes of which we have never seen before.
No, actually, we have. He was vice president, and he's been in office for a long time. And a lot of the people in his cabinet actually served in Obama's cabinet or were staffers or people that he worked with. We've seen exactly these people, not even the likes of them, the individuals. We've seen I'll have you know, he's running for re-election. He also kicked your ass.
He and the communists and his party looted trillions of dollars from you and spent it on illegal aliens and the Green New scam, triggering the...
They did? When was this? They looted trillions of... Oh, you mean like your tax cut? Your unpaid for tax cut? Or the big first dump of money during COVID? Trillions of dollars.
The highest inflation in...
Oh, by the way, staying in Afghanistan, that cost us trillions. Leaving stopped that. He put a tourniquet on the shit that you ran on. Yeah, trillions of dollars.
In many, many decades. If your packages are getting smaller, that's...
It's not a problem, man. It's not a problem. Just saying. This seems to be a personal issue. I would, if I were you, I would go talk to Dr. Ronnie. It's
the reason why, under my leadership, there was no inflation.
Well, that's because the fucking economy collapsed entirely. Like, we had a massive pandemic you said would go away when the sun came out in the spring.
We had the greatest economy in the history of the world.
No, we didn't.
It's time to tell crooked Joe Biden, you're fired. Joe Biden is...
Well, isn't that your line? Why the fuck are you putting me to work? What are you, the IKEA of politics, motherfucker? Like, you're fired / some assembly required? All right, he had, let's see, they're still running over here. Still, so catch up with these folks. Let's see if I can zip this forward. Still gathering, still hanging out. He also didn't he make another? Let's see. Yeah. So this is his Joe Biden, you're fired video that he made, which is, whatever.
Well, it was anything but a good week for President Biden.
The polls are pretty consistent. Joe Biden is a failure.
The pull out of Afghanistan, President Biden's exit as an unmitigated disaster.
That disastrous evacuation resulted in Americans left behind.
Joe Biden, you're fired. Get out of here.
Bidenomics has become a negative word, especially among Democrats, because it's not working.
70% of Americans
Yeah, she's quoting what Fox was saying, I think, in that one.
say the economy is worse now.
That's Bidenomics. You're fired.
The crisis at the border unrelenting.
Record numbers of migrants crossing over this week.
I guess that whole wall thing was just a failure. I guess why was the border better before the wall was built? Could it have something to do with that access road that guy was driving up towards? Real quick.
10% of Americans say the economy is worse now.
That's Bidenomics. You're fired.
The crisis at the border unrelenting.
Record numbers of migrants crossing.
Hey, there we go. Now, anybody notice anything new about this area on both sides? See this part. This is the American side of the border, I presume, because that's one of our trucks, I suppose. Yeah, I can't tell. It might be one of the Mexican trucks, actually. Very well may be. Either way. This looks like the new access road anyways. There didn't used to be this here. It used to be ground, just like more like that up there everywhere. Now there's this nice little road that just goes all the way to the end of it. You can drive a car down or you can walk down that goes all the way to the end of the wall.
Over this week.
151 people on the FBI's terror watch list.
Would you employ Joe?
We're caught. We're caught. Also, I saw one SUV. I did not. I just want to say, did you guys in that?
Fired.
The crisis at the border unrelenting.
Yeah, this is the early part. This looks fairly organized, by the way.
Record numbers of migrants crossing over.
And then, when you're gonna, I'm just saying, from a marketing standpoint, if you're gonna say record number of migrants crossing, maybe don't you have footage of record number of migrants crossing right there? Because I got to tell you, that's a four-seater. I'm sure somebody could sit in the back. Maybe you could get 6 people comfortably or uncomfortably in there. You got 4 people and maybe 3 people in a big rolling bag, or 4 people and then their bags in the back or something like that. It's not, unless, you know what, maybe I think it's my mistake. Maybe there's a record number of people in that SUV, and it's like a contest. They managed to get 13 people, and the record was 11 for a long time, and they're very proud of themselves, and they were still able to drive the car.
For this week.
151 people on the FBI's terror watch list.
Would you employ?
Notice how we're caught, right? Notice how they just say 151 people on the terror watch list, and then they just don't say the rest of it. We're detained at the border. We're caught at the border.
Joe Biden for anything? No.
Yes.
Get that son of a bitch off the field right now. Out. He's fired. He's fired.
Yeah. By the way, that's old footage of him too. Is there something weird about they just don't want to use? Because he just did the "you're fired" video. He can't shoot new shit for his video. Yeah, totally propaganda. Cheering. Meanwhile, like here's the Trump they use in this thing. Hold on. There he is. And here's the, where is it? Here's the real Trump. This is that, like, and and That's what, and I gotta say, is that from 2020? Or is that from, I mean, was he doing Pence's lines? Jesus Christ. Is that 2015? Eek. Yeah, hard to say. Anyways, hi chat room. Like, subscribe, hit that thumbs up. Let them know you're here. The nunt is increasing. I apologize. I should have put the warning up, but I forgot. What the fuck? Oh, dear God. All right, we're not, I was checking a video, and I'm like, there's no fucking way. It was a Roseanne thing, and it was like 2 hours long. I didn't know we were going to. Okay, let's while we're waiting, shall we? Let's check in with how well Greg Kelly's doing, because Greg Kelly has to know by this point in this video. Hold on one second. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Greg Kelly, the most miserable man on the internet, except when he's seeing, I suppose, Donald Trump's face, in which case he finally feels home, like a carrier pigeon with a little mini barrel attached to its legs, with a note attached to the little barrel that says, contains syphilis. This is how Trump constantly yelling, "You're fired." Is that useful? Well, for Trump, remember, it was supposed to be on brand, and he never fired anybody on The fucking Apprentice. The producers did, and he never fired anybody on in his own White House. He had other people do it for him. He was too chicken shit. Even Comey, he had somebody else tell him. And you're the president. You'd think, like, if you're like who he says he is, you'd think he'd take to that like a fucking pig to slop, right? He couldn't wait to do it. I'm now the president. I can fucking fire anybody. I can fire people who aren't even working in government. Hold on, what the fuck? Is it me, or is there no audio coming from that? Yeah. There is. Please tell me. I mean, that's kind of beautiful. Please tell me that's a silent clip. All right, I'll reload it, maybe?
These are incredible times, astounding achievements, almost miraculous.
Almost miraculous? What? That he lost Vermont and D.C.? That he got 60-40 in most states? Even states he swept at 98%, he got 70% in? Meanwhile, Joe Biden loses... American Samoa to a guy who's to the right of him. You're welcome, I guess. And then everywhere else, Biden gets 90%, and the only place he gets 81% is in Michigan or Minnesota, where they do this specific, uncommitted thing, which is people threatening to vote for this motherfucker who would flatten Gaza and has said so.
Scope, Donald Trump prevailing as he has with everything he's up against, right? The cultural...
Why? What's he up against in the fucking Republican part? It's the Republican primary, dumb fuck. It's a trapped audience.
Opposition, the institutional, governmental opposition.
What is that? How does that affect you as the nominee?
They're trying to put the man in prison. They have...
Right, but how does that have any impact on a fucking primary? You guys either like him or you don't. You're either convinced that what they're doing is right or you're not. And if he's only getting 60-40, a huge fucking chunk of the people who voted for him last time aren't going to vote for him this time.
Arrested him. And yet he wins like he's winning. It is incredible.
Except in Vermont and D.C., obviously.
We've never seen anything like it.
Yes, you have. Well, I'll tell you what you haven't seen is a previous Republican president who's had to run opposed for a second term. I mean, since, I don't know, what the fuck, since Nixon? I don't know.
And no matter what happens, he is perhaps the most successful person ever in American history in terms of...
What the fuck are you talking about? The most successful, what's your determination of success? Largest fine ever? Being 3 marriages deep, and most people are like, where the fuck is his wife? Why isn't she campaigning with him? What the fuck? No, asshole. He had opposition in the Republican Party from a woman of color, the lowest possible person on the rung of people that Republicans generally want to vote for, and she still trounced him in 2 contests and shaved off 30% of his vote everywhere. Fucking everywhere.
Of, well, achievement.
Sure. In terms of achievements, Like what has he achieved? Convincing a bunch of dumbasses at Deutsche Bank that his building that has 62 floors has 74?
Well, wait a second. He didn't win re-election. We can talk about the election of 2020 and...
Yeah, go ahead, asshole. Get your network in deep shit again. Do that. You know what? actually, I can. And here's what happened. He fucking lost. But you can't. You cannot. He's like, we could talk about the election. No, you can't. Your bosses at Newsmax will tell you to shut the fuck up. You will lose your job. If you start throwing around the rigged and stolen bullshit that he's throwing, you're gone, dude. They don't have the fucking $748 million that Fox has.
But let's pretend for a moment, okay, just a one-term president.
Uh-huh.
Look at everything else in addition to becoming president, all right?
Yeah, he's still with his high school sweetheart. They maintained through the years, raised, a bunch of great kids who don't do drugs or kill, stake down rare animals and on asshole uber rich safari trips. He's never been caught on tape, at least, bragging about grabbing women by the pussy while he was married. He dodged that whole paying off a porn star thing.
I know he came from an established family, right?
Yes, criminally established. It was established early on in the 70s that he and his father were both racist who wouldn't rent to black people. That would be it, I think.
A well-to-do family, but he turned Trump into an international brand, right?
Yes, it stands for gaudy bullshit. It became a running gag. That's why he hasn't built anything since the 90s. Chat wants to know if Hal's showing the speech. I plan to, although I feel like we can all go watch it. I'm checking in on this thing. Hold on. Let's see. We're going. They're still running it in the background. Yeah, they're still wandering about in there. Because it doesn't. It officially starts at my time, like 7 o'clock, though, right? No. Yes. 5 o'clock. It was on the thing. It starts at 5 p.m. West Coast time. Okay. Well, we're getting pretty close to it. So yes. 5. Okay. 5. Yeah. It starts in 1 hour. 6 West Coast. There you go. That makes sense. Because that was at the end of my show. That's what I thought. So it's at the end of my show. So technically, I'd like to stop and just watch it, if you would, and then I'll go over it because we can just watch. Like, I'm not gonna interrupt it. There's no reason to necessarily. So I'll just, if that's cool with you guys, we can all just go watch it. In that regard, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Anyways, where's this dickhead? Okay, back here. Yes, Trump has done for has turned his name into a brand for construction, kind of like Epstein is for finances and day trading.
A billionaire. The name is known globally even before he went into politics, right?
Right, as gaudy, gold leaf bullshit.
He writes a book. He goes into...
Somebody else wrote the book.
He becomes an author. The number one...
No, he didn't become an author. He didn't. He sold a book. He had a book with his name on it. He had a book ghost written.
Best-selling business book ever.
No, not even close. It is not the best-selling business book ever. Hold on. Let's see. I mean, it'll probably say that if I look it up on Google because of best-selling business book ever. Let's see. All right. Let's see. What are the best-selling business books of all time? Hold on. God damn it. Scroll. 100 best-selling. Okay. Let's see. Here they are. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Powerful Lessons in Personal Change. Reddit. Yep. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Reddit. As you can tell. Good to Great, Why Some Companies Make the Leap and Others Don't. I have not read that, which is why I have a hard time telling people to like and subscribe and give a thumbs up and patreon.com/HalSpark. Zig Ziglar, yes. Oh, we love Zig Ziglar. You got to have goals if you want to get ahead. Getting Things Done, The Art of Stress-Free Productivity by David Allen. David Allen's GTD system is the go-to for people who are, even when people make like list apps like Things and all those apps for helping you do, checklists and all that stuff. That they use the GTD system that he created. The Tipping Point, Malcolm Gladwell. It's one of the newer books on the list. It's number 5. CEO Stories, Children Employed by Owners. I don't know what the fuck that is. Think and Grow Rich. That's always part of it. Influence. I've read that as well. Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion. I have not. Or have I? Maybe if you read it, you don't talk about it. Flow. I've read that one. It's about a waitress who worked at Mel's Diner who was just amazing at sales. She could get anyone to kiss her grits. It's fucking stupid. I'm sorry. Outliers, The Story of Success. Also, Malcolm Gladwell is apparently doing well. 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. I feel like I've read it, but I haven't. First, Break All the Rules. What the world's greatest managers do differently. I'm not a manager, so I haven't read that. Made to Stick. Why Some Ideas Survive and Others Die. The Lean Startup. Built to Last. Blink. The Power of Thinking About Thinking. E-Myth Revisited. Drive. The Surprising Truth About What Motivates. Effective Executive. The One Thing. I've read that one and I fucking hate it. That's the first book on here where I would go, fuck that book. The One Thing is bullshit. No job, especially being like a CEO or the top of something, only does one thing. Like think of it like I would do one thing. I would be the greatest director ever. Well, the greatest director ever would know screenwriting and no acting and no editing and all these things. You wouldn't just know the one thing. There's no way to know that one thing. You need to know more about the props than your prop person does, because that's what being a director is, and it drives me fucking crazy. Never mind. Anyways, I digress. Oh, The Places You'll Go, Dr. Zeus? Sure. Yeah. The Innovator's Dilemma, Thinking Fast and Slow, which is great. This one's about like CIA thinking and like thinking like a spy to keep yourself from being persuaded by other people. Art of War, In Search of Excellence, Blue Ocean Strategy, The Personal MBA, Master the Art of Business. Why do I want to buy some of these and start reading them right now? The 1 Minute Manager. I'm just rework, quiet. Now it's got the Purple Cow. There's another, Seth Godin book, Emotional Intelligence, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Kiyosaki's full of shit, but whatever. Leadership, Self-Deception, great. Titan, Steve Jobs. We're at 73 now. Did I scroll past it? I must have missed it in the first 10. It's the number 1, is it? It's number 1, is it? Well, I guess not. Look at number 100, though. I would argue, this is how upside down my fucking career is. The 80-20 principle, The Secret to Achieving More with Less. I'm a big fan of this book. 80-20 principle is actually great. Yeah. Just saying, for the record. Meanwhile, no. Not only did he not write it, but it's not even on the list.
Part of the deal. Ever. Goes in.
Not ever. Just silly. You're a silly person.
To television. It immediately becomes the number 1 show, I believe, in the history of television.
No, it isn't.
Until about 2004, 2000.
Bullshit.
2005. Then he goes into politics. Takes up.
Again, not even close to true. What the fuck are you talking about?
On 15 career politicians.
Yeah, but all of them, according to him, dipshits and completely incapable of doing anything right, and losers and suckers and idiots and people who can't, which is why he put several of them in his cabinet. Somebody asked, do I speed read? Yes, I do, which is why I need paper copies of the books that I have, because you can't speed read. The technique I use to speed read, you cannot do it on an iPad, because if you move your fingers across the page, which is how I trace the words as I'm doing it, it makes the page move because it's digital. It's kind of aggravating. It works with a Kindle, I think. So,
Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, and on his first run ever for office, didn't try the Senate first, governorship, no, the presidency, and wins. And how did he do it? By talking to the people.
No, by winning the Electoral College, because a bunch of progressive assholes phoned it in and gave him 3 states he didn't earn. He lost by 3 million votes.
It was very old-fashioned in a sense.
Very old-fashioned. Yes. Like an old-fashioned racist just winning on the Electoral College. Yep.
Going out night after night with interesting ideas, specifics, and talking to the people about them.
Like what? What would be the specifics? having the best words and knowing the best people, and that the best people will come in and make deals so fast that it'll make your head spin, that whole thing, which, by the way, when did he was talking about the China deal. You guys remember that, right? He was talking about the China deal when he ran for office in 2015, 2016. Anybody remember when he actually signed phase 1 of his three-phase China deal? When was that? It's so fast, make your head spin. During COVID, if you're just joining us.
And he wins. He wins. And
then he loses.
They will never forgive him for winning, for doing what he did to Hillary Clinton. Well, that is their...
Actually, no. Nobody's grinding on what he did to Hillary Clinton. It's what he did to the fucking country, dummy.
Problem. One of the reasons why
nice, Mary.
I think he resonates so much with the people.
The people? The people? Which people? You mean the people in the villages? Or
we've heard politicians say for a million years, I'm
going to get us out of Afghanistan, and it's going to happen so fast, you don't have to worry about it. We have stupid people. I know all the best people will be out of there and just say, we're going to have a deal with China so fast, we're not even going to, and you're going to be tired of winning. You're going to be, I'm tired of winning. Now, you might be so tired they put you on a ventilator while we wait for a vaccine, but you're going to be tired of winning. Yes, I remember those promises. I'm going to build a wall, a big, beautiful wall, and Mexico's going to pay for it. 100%. I remember, yeah.
Fight for you. I'm going to get to Washington and do this, and then they don't.
You're right. They usually go there and just pass a giant corporate tax cut and blow a hole in the budget and tell people to go fuck themselves.
They certainly don't fight. We saw it. We saw Donald Trump fighting every...
Well, struggling with a teleprompter is not fighting.
Every single day, right?
No, you didn't.
Right? There was no cakewalk. They tried to sabotage him. Yet, he got things done, amazing things done. You know, he was... wasn't afraid to get red in the face for America.
What? He wasn't red in the face for America. He was red in the face because he was busted for paying off a porn star. Because he knew in the re-election, the fucking evangelicals didn't need him anymore because he'd already put the people in the Supreme Court. He was like, fuck, I'm done. They don't need me anymore. My transactional relationship with these people is fucking over. And now this little piece of news is going to give him an excuse to kick me to the curb and put Pence in there. I better get some of my fucking fans to hang him.
He told me once, you can get anything done in life if you're not afraid to look bad.
And that's been the rallying cry of Greg Kelly Reports since its beginning, really. It's the whole point of this show is if we just keep looking bad and doing a terrible job, eventually something great will happen. Like the cancellation of the Greg Kelly Reports.
Barack Obama. Think he was ever going to break a sweat for America?
Well, he didn't have to. And also, even right there, this is Trump getting mad at someone for questioning the crimes he was committing.
The Mr. Right? Mr. Cool, collected, comfortable.
Yeah, cool, collected, comfortable. That's what we called him. Mr. Cool, collected, comfortable. Not in that order. Obviously, they could shuffle them. It's like those little boxes when people juggle the boxes and they put them together, whatever. We did any of them, any word order worked really well. I'm sorry, do you need a president that fucking panics?
No, it was all about him.
For you it was. But for him, it was trying to get health care to 45 million people who didn't have it.
And another thing, he said it and he did it. I was there when he made the announcement. Very, very specific. Most politicians, it's pretty broad, you know?
Yes, bullshit about like, I'm going to build a wall, a big, beautiful wall across the entire southern border, and Mexico is going to pay for it 100%. You know, vagaries like that.
And when they get specific,
I'm going to get us out of Afghanistan so fast, it'll make your head spin. We have stupid generals. I'll know the good generals, the bad generals, but I'll make the decision that will get us out of there right away. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's really small. You don't want to make big promises because everybody will remember. And what if you fail? What if...
You mean, what if Mexico doesn't pay for the wall and it doesn't actually help the border, and it actually makes it worse because of the access road you had to build something that size.
If you don't even try. Well, that doesn't apply to Donald Trump, does it?
Nobody would be tougher on ISIS than Donald Trump.
ISIS-K is actually the organization that killed our soldiers in Afghanistan as we were leaving. ISIS still exists. He left right after the general said the caliphate is over, but it didn't eliminate ISIS. They're permeate throughout the region. Of course they were. As soon as he could claim that he had destroyed 100% of the caliphate, which was more of like an organizational agreement between Russia and Assad than anything else, as soon as he could claim that, he was like, well, fuck him. I don't care. We're not going to fight that shit anymore. As a matter of fact, let Turkey kill some Kurds.
Nobody.
Also, what the fuck does that mean? Will never be tougher than on ISIS than Donald Trump. Nobody. Is that a specific?
ISIS took over a huge portion of the Middle East under Barack Obama, 2012, 2013, 14, 15. The vacuum that we left after our botched invasion and occupation of Iraq, ISIS, it's almost like a ghost now. Nobody remembers. They were chopped.
Right, because they were almost, I mean, even Trump was like, do we have to finish this off? Like, just blow it off.
Chopping off heads. They took over half a continent.
No, they didn't. What continent would that be?
And he did it. He beat them.
What continent are we talking about, young man? The Middle Eastern continent?
By changing the rules of engagement, by bringing in key personnel and making it happen. Funny how you never hear about that.
Well, that's because it was created by that vacuum which Bush started, and then the Obama administration got rid of most of it and was strategically getting rid of them in a way that wouldn't lead to more violence in the Middle East, which was the point. You know, the reason they thought it would take as long as it did is because they didn't want to kill civilians in the process. And for all you uncommitted folks, Donald Trump came in and told the generals that were working, screw Obama's rules of engagement, fuck that, fill your boots, do your worst, we don't care. And there were like 80% more, well, like there was many civilian deaths in the first year of Trump as there were in the entire 8 years of Obama in the war against ISIS. As many civilian deaths in the first 8 months, that was the triple eights, right? The first 8 months, 80% more in the first 8 months than there were in the entire 8 years of Obama. All together. Yeah, an equal number plus 80% more. But tell me again how, the Genocide Joe shit. Yeah.
Anyway.
Also, by the way, it was Joe Biden who told Obama, look, the generals are going to keep telling you that you got to stay in another 6 months or 9 months, no matter when you set the date. They're always going to tell you they need more time. We got to get the fuck out of there. We don't need to be there. And it will always be bad when they're leaving. You just got to take the hit. You got to go. And they didn't do it. They were very close under Obama, but it wasn't his presidency. It was Obama's presidency, and that was Joe's advice. Trump came in, said he was going to, we'll get out of there so fast, it'll make your head spin. And then 4 years later, fucking nothing. Sets a date off into the next term, which we now know he wasn't even going to honor.
Anyway. That's okay. We're kind of used to it. Oh, but they're trying to lock him up. They're trying to lock him up.
Who's they? Also, you do know that, if Obama had wiped out 80% of the ISIS caliphate and then had stolen a bunch of classified documents that had gotten our spies and Israeli spies and fucking, insiders that we had in Russia murdered, we'd feel the same way about him. But then, of course, he wouldn't be the same kind of person, and we wouldn't have voted for him in the first place, because if a Democrat came out and went, I grab a woman by the pussy, it's just what I do, they would have never fucking made it through the primary ever.
This is what you get for your troubles. This is what you get.
What troubles? He golfed the whole fucking time.
I have to say this, too. Every time I hear he is a lawless president, he's breaking the law, we must reestablish the rule of law.
Uh-huh.
You have to remember this, in addition to all these cases being total scams,
yeah, they're not, but okay.
Always shows up every time he has a court date.
Okay, first of all, no, he doesn't. He wasn't there for the first E. Jean Carroll case, which cost him $5 million, and he was so mad about the $5 million, he wouldn't shut the fuck up about her, so he showed up at the second trial, which had already been after the guilt had been established, and it was just for further damages, and this dumb motherfucker cost himself $83 million. He showed up at the civil case, but he hasn't shown up at some of the, like the other ones, simply because he can't use them. Once he showed up, if his lawyers can go, his lawyers just go. He doesn't go. He didn't have to. He went to his civil case, A, because it's his fucking money, and that's all he gives a shit about, and B, so that he could use it as a campaign stop, because there were more people standing outside in the hallway than there were at some of his fucking primary gatherings.
There he is. He's not a fugitive, all right? He obeyed.
He couldn't be, dumb fuck. Jesus Christ. Most of us are convinced it's Andy Kaufman wearing another version of the Tony Clifton suit in the first place.
He's the law. He's following all of these procedures, and then they hate it.
I thought he was being denied his due process. I thought this was a third world country, and this is what they do in third world countries. What procedures do you have in a third world country? Right? Am I missing something here? It sounds like he goes to the ones he has to go to. And then if he doesn't have to go, he doesn't go, except for the civil case where he goes to basically just tell his lawyers to make mistakes. I guess the only advice he's given him has cost him more money.
Even more, because they're reminded, oh gosh, this guy's got a private jet. Oh God, this guy, millions of people. They still like him after we tried to lock him up. And can we perhaps never look to the mainstream media again for anything?
So you're not planning a career in mainstream media, Greg? You just given up on that dream, have you? I think that's smart. I think it's wise. Popping that balloon's a good idea.
How wrong, and how long can you be wrong?
Well, I will say this: he does talk like Trump. Well, thank you, Carolina. That's Al Jazeera.
You get the picture, and we can go on like that, all right? And hours and hours and hours, thousands of hours of television footage. And
right, but you're not gonna go through and
the Burmese executives. So this Burmese, they say pronounce it Burmese.
Greg, you're not gonna go through the thousands of hours of speeches.
Free health care for illegal. Look.
Where he says things
Michigan gave us Motown, gave us the Mustang.
Or
Christopher Columbus. Christopher. Huh?
Here I am like an idiot.
Or
They're going to be a country no more. I actually think it will not. It will be a country no more. Mm-hmm. We have to slab it.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants people coming in from foreign countries?
That kind of thing? Like,
they are always wrong.
No.
You're watching the right show, though, because...
Well, yes, I do want to laugh. That's true.
I'm not like them.
Well, that's true. I mean, they actually are backing their... Now, here's the thing. They weren't saying that he's doomed means in the future, as we know. But even still... They're pointing to the fact, like, this is finally what's going to do it. He's been indicted. This is going to lead to the end of the bullshit. People are going to, and that's exactly what's happening. He lost a lot of these primary races 60-40. That's not a good sign.
And I don't care what they think about me.
They don't, though, Greg. They don't think about you. They honestly don't. I don't, unless a clip comes up. I really do. And it's kind of, and I got to say, when Greg comes up in the feed and CSL throws him in there as part of the daily hash of shit out there. I gotta say I get a little heart flutter. I'm like, oh, here we go. This is gonna be good. This will be fun. And light too. You know what I mean? One thing about Greg Kelly is that his darkest moments are about himself on the bus. But for most of the time, this is you're a good bit of fluff, Greg. That's what I'll say about you.
And my batting average is pretty damn good.
I think he's going to win. Wisdom and Courage, December 10th, 2020. What do you mean your batting average? It's just you kissing his ass. Trump wasn't right. And why is he pointing at me?
So every step of the way, I was getting all kinds of pushback on social media, emails from my friends, even some relatives saying,
"You look like a shithead. Are you nuts? This guy's a pussy-grabbing second-generation rich kid.
What's with you and Trump? Don't you
Yeah, it's a little daddy issues much?
understand? This guy's finished. You need to find another candidate. You need to, I don't know, DeSantis or somebody." No, I didn't see it that way.
Dude, that's not. I would have kept that one out of there. I would have not. Maybe this is what made your friends and your family call. Maybe this was the last straw. This was where you crossed the line. Yeah. Is that the episode where you were fantasizing about oiling him up after a debate?
I saw a man who
had the body of Sylvester Stallone and the hair of a televangelist.
lived up to his promises and has a lot more to offer, had a lot more and has a lot more to offer this country.
Like?
And folks, you and me.
Trump wins in a landslide. It could happen. September 26, 2023. Yeah, I mean, if there's a moment you've been right about something, it's that one. It's that 3 years after the last election he lost. It's saying it could happen.
I have a sense, if you're watching, we are on the right.
A madman, and that's a good thing. No, it is not. I mean, I guess it's a good thing if you fucking hate America.
Side of history. And that is a great place to be. We're going to look back at this time. And
yes, we are, Greg. At some point, my friend, after the whole Trump bullshit is in the rearview mirror and he loses this election this fall, which he is going to do soundly, we're going to look back at Greg Kelly, the swing and a miss, the Greg Kelly show, and everything we were promised and denied.
We didn't give in. We didn't give up. By the way,
we didn't give a fuck about America. We just suck up to Trump and hope one day he'll have us on speed dial.
It's not all just pro-Trump stuff. I'm a very realistic guy, all right?
Well, you certainly showed your realism in that whole giving up on the mainstream media thing, because that gig's not coming.
Like when I saw Ron DeSantis, I like Ron, but I knew. And I said publicly in July of 2022, before he declared, that he's just not ready for the big job.
Asshole, that's you saying the same shit. That's just you running interference for Trump. That's not you. You're not a prophet for the fucking RNC. You were part of the media group that were trying to run interference for Trump to deny Ron DeSantis a chance. That was your point. That's what that fucking and also there's not going to be an ever. You got the fact that he ran and the fact that Trump reacted the way he did guarantees Ron DeSantis doesn't have a shot in the future.
Nice guys, got a lot of work to do. Smart guy too.
Citation needed.
Good governor, but it wasn't his time, and I told him so. All right.
Did you?
Sorry, but I'm going to continue this victory lap.
What victory lap? Your dude lost.
This is a special show.
It is. I've always thought so. You're a special guy, Greg. You're special. It's a special kind of special.
We present you a perspective that, is formed by experience. I was actually there in the room when Donald Trump declared.
Oh, yeah, he's shown this before.
All the way back June 16th of 2015. The entire press corps laughed at him. They
were disgusted by him.
Said it was a joke, literally. They put a clown face on Trump in the next day's newspaper. This is what I said 2 minutes after the speech.
I think he might be a game changer in this race. Listen to that speech. It's going to go over well in certain precincts in Iowa, New Hampshire. This is a big deal. This is not a joke.
All right. I am proud of that. All right. Enough about me.
Right. Of course you like him. And as far as like game changer and certain precincts.
Let's talk about last night's victory. Oh,
if you'd have just said this guy's a winner, that would be the prediction. But being a suck up who liked Trump from the beginning and you wanted to do business with him or kiss his ass because if he drops out, you could still be his friend. That's what you would say. That's what you say when you're a New York suck up, Greg. That's not what you say when you've got your finger on the pulse of politics.
And the speech, I noticed, look, he was a little bit subdued, and that's
subdued. Dude, he looked like he'd been tranked.
Fine.
It is fine. He was a little, what's the word? I don't know. Sleepy? Is sleepy? Sleepy, I think. Sleepy could work.
It's totally fine. However he wants to do it. But you know who was really subdued? I mean, I felt like somebody died. Fox News. I was going around the dial. Did you see the panel over there? I mean, it was like CNN on election night in 2016.
Well, I mean, you gotta understand, they're under a lot of pressure. They have viewers. You don't have that kind of stress, Greg. You don't have to deal with that. I mean, they're sitting there going, here I am like an asshole sitting in, talking about Donald Trump who just, barely squeaked by the primary compared to the win he had in 2020, even after he lost. And I'm staring down the barrel of supporting a losing candidate no matter what I do in front of a screen that shows fucking 30 Rock for some reason. Like that's where America votes or some shit. Sitting in an ice desk like I'm I'm doing the Eskimo weather.
I didn't they see this coming? They were devastated. And also,
maybe they were devastated because in Virginia, Trump got 71%. Maybe they were devastated because he won Virginia with 98% of the Republican vote. But this time he's got 71%. And everybody who's voting for Haley is an anti-Trump vote. They're not just voting for her. They're not just saying she's a superior candidate. As a matter of fact, she's saying that literally she's got more fuck this guy votes than she's got Haley votes. That's maybe, just maybe, why they're subdued. Also, I'm sure they'd love to talk about the 2020 election, but it cost them $754 million.
We're nitpicking Donald Trump. Oh, he should have said this during his speech. He should have said that during his speech.
Look, yeah, what the fuck do you know? He was sleepy. He was sweaty. Sure, he was rambly and slurry and talking out of his ass, but you don't know how to... He was president once for one term and won't be again.
It was too much of this, not enough of that. It reminded me, say somebody goes out and buys himself with his own money.
Uh-huh. Is this a childhood story, Greg? A dildo. Sorry.
A Rolls Royce, okay? And drives it down the street. And everybody's critiquing him. Bad driver. Drive faster. Drive slow. He'll drive it.
That's what people write. Drive slower. This is what happens when you're like, we got an AI account. We can get some artwork made. What do you think? I don't know. This is going to be I guess his argument is just having the Rolls Royce makes you better than everyone else. It doesn't matter because they're not in the car. If they were worth a fuck, they'd be in the car with you.
Any way he wants. He knows what he's doing.
I see. In this analogy, if Trump's in the Rolls Royce, Fox is the engine, okay? Fox is the machine that got him into the White House, you dumb fuck. And the engine is sputtering. There's fucking washers and bolts falling out on the ground. There's smoke coming out of the fucking tailpipe and out from under the hood.
All right, next.
All right, by the way, that's a terrible analogy anyways, but thank you for setting me up for a really good analogy.
I said I wanted Americans to have their voices heard. I have done that.
That's right. She's allowed 30% of Republicans to go, fuck Donald Trump. I'm never voting for him.
I have no regrets.
Nikki. It's kind of fun to talk about Nikki. I might miss her in a weird way because,
dude, anytime you talk about a woman, it's a weird way.
She is one of the most bizarre creatures I've ever seen.
What the fuck is wrong with you? She was Donald Trump's pick for the UN ambassadorship. What the?
Even that. She just said, I let the people speak. I have done that. I let them be heard. I don't know what she meant by that.
She meant the chunk of voters that is not going to vote for Trump. And they made that abundantly clear through their votes for her that they are not voting for Trump, dum-dum.
And the other things she says are both bizarre and revealing.
I sought the honor of being your president. But in our great country, being a private citizen is privilege enough in itself. And that's a privilege I very much look forward to enjoying.
That is the insincere part, all right? That's who she...
Yeah, she doesn't want to be a person.
So phony. I look forward to being a citizen. That's like Barack Obama was pushing that. Next, please.
Wait a minute. How is this Barack Obama's fault?
In all likelihood, Donald Trump will be the Republican nominee when our party convention meets in July. I congratulate him and wish him well. I wish anyone well who would be America's president.
There it is. She won't endorse him, huh?
Right, yeah. That's why she stayed in as long as she did, because she thinks he's horrible.
How about that? That is a real problem for her. She's finished politically. I guess this is all about money and power, corporate power. Who knows?
Why? How would that be corporate power? What the fuck?
Who knows, but...
Yes. You know what? You're right. Just make it up. Who the fuck knows? It couldn't possibly be that she views herself as a principled Republican and it's really serious. How could anyone look at Donald Trump and not think of him as a serious human being that wants the best for everyone? I mean, besides the fact that you would have to have, water on the brain to think that.
She doesn't care about us. She would have offered a full-throated endorsement of Donald Trump. Anything to beat Joe Biden, right?
Nope.
If she really cared.
No, here's the thing. He's probably going to get indicted, and she's got to hold out for the possibility that she could possibly be the nominee again. If he gets indicted, if he gets found guilty between now and then, there's a huge chunk of the voters that won't do that, and he'll lose some of the electoral, some of the primary votes that he got, and therefore she could probably swoop in and have a contested primary, at the RNC, and hopefully she could slip in there. If she endorses him, then what's the fucking point?
Next, please.
She'll lose the people that sided with her and give them permission to go there. Yeah.
I have always been a conservative Republican and always supported the Republican nominee. But on this question, as she did on so many others, Margaret Thatcher provided some good advice when she said, quote, "Never just follow the crowd. Always make up your own mind." It is now up to Donald Trump to earn the votes of those in our party and beyond it who did not support him.
I don't
like her. I don't like how she makes me feel in my pants. I don't like the lady and she's mean and stuff. Hold on. Yeah, I can do it. Oh, good grief. Okay. Thanks, Andrea.
this. First of all, when Margaret Thatcher said it with that accent, it sounded a hell of a lot deeper, and she was deeper, and she was making a point about faith and politics and the Depression. She's out for her own brand, and we can all see it.
Well, if she's out for her own brand, and that works, then obviously she's speaking to something and a specific group of voters within the Republican Party. If those voters didn't exist, that wouldn't work. But it does, and you're afraid it will, because he's ice skating uphill with that group of people.
Donald Trump has to earn. Maybe he has to make the case. He has to make the case.
Same fucking thing. What's the difference? He hasn't earned it, or he wouldn't have to make the case. What? It's, oh, God, split the difference.
But earning it, right? Groveling or something that a politician would do? No, he doesn't have to do that. Next, please.
Next, please. What did you borrow Mark Levin's fucking producer? Mr. Producer?
At its best, politics is about bringing people into your cause, not turning them away.
That sounded nice, right? It's
like watching him, it's like watching a child try to learn the alphabet by shoving blocks in his ear. I like the sound of the letter B, but I don't like how it feels when I shove it in my ear.
Sounded nice, but it's not nice.
I thought you liked Trump. He's never nice. What the fuck's wrong with you? He's shitty to everybody. Maybe that's his way of saying points, Nikki.
Let me see what you just said, please. We wrote it out. At its best, politics is about bringing people into your cause, not turning them away. Bringing people into your cause.
Work it out. Work through it. We'll wait. Think about it, Greg. Work on it. Let it boil. Let it simmer. Don't let it overflow. Watch out for it.
What about representing the people? You see, your cause,
as if the Republican, conservative cause is different from the Democratic cause, or how independents may think, and so it might require, fuck convincing people. They should just know. And also, Donald Trump speaks perfectly. He says exactly like it needs to be said. And if you can't hear it, it's not his mouth, it's your fucking ears that are the problem.
Your cause is different from the people. I know what she's saying. Sometimes you have to take an unpopular view and sell it to the people.
Right, like Trump was talking about. Well, the opposite of what Trump was saying about abortion, which is just lie. Just say what you need to do to get elected and then do whatever the fuck you want.
But at its best, bringing people into that sounds selfish to me. And
Jesus Christ, which is Trump's brand. She's stealing from Trump. Also, for fuck's sake, politics is not the voting part and the actually administering policy even. The politicking is the campaigning. It is the engagement with the people you represent or choose to represent or want to represent. Yes? That's the politics part of it. Once you're in office, you're kind of carrying out what would be that cause or whatever your party's platform is or whatever you won by talking about as your cause, what you are championing.
Self-serving. Next.
Which, again, is Trump's brand. How dare you?
From the bottom of my heart, thank you, America. God bless you.
Jesus Christ. The longer he lets this go, the more I think he's going to go like, what's with that dress and where is she going? And she just left, and that's not what you do. She didn't wave at anybody. What a bitch, right?
And Nikki has left the building. What kind of walk-off was that? Who does she think she is? That was...
Right, what'd I say? What's she supposed to do? Mill around?
So strange. I don't mean to nitpick here, but where is...
Yeah, you do. And you were just shitting on Fox for nitpicking Trump.
Where's everybody? Where are friends, family, support?
They're backstage. That's where she went.
She doesn't...
They're backstage. They're behind that curtain. They're there. There's some people probably out there, but they're going to meet her around back. That's it. It's no longer a campaign event because the campaign is over.
Don't have anybody. I'm sorry, Nikki. Nobody likes you. People love you, all right? I love everybody. I love every
fuck off
human being, but I don't like her. And unfortunately, in politics, you need people to like you, Nikki. Wow.
Maybe that's why Trump only got 70% in Virginia this time.
There was something just a little much. Anyway, Super Tuesday, Superman. Let me know what you think. We'll be right back.
It's an idiot making a desperate plea for love from Donald Trump. That's what I make of the Super Tuesday question mark Superman. Also, would it be... sorry, you guys can't see that. It's my fault. Hold on. Let me slide this over. It says Super Tuesday question mark Superman. Super Tuesday is just the name of the thing. Nobody questions that they call it Super Tuesday for a reason, because it's all these states at once and it's the biggest ones. But shouldn't the Superman be a question mark? Also, I love the fact that he put the space in there so they don't run into trouble with copyright issues.
Back.
No, you won't. That's that. So let's check in on, let's see, the State of the Union. I'm going to play this. Whoops. Hold on.
Mr. President, later this evening, we are going to...
Oh, this is another thing. I see. Sorry. It jumped ahead to the next thing. I'll back up. There we go. Still milling about. We got another half hour. It's getting pretty crowded, though. It's a good turnout, I think. Yeah? Should we jump in and see what Jamie Comer is telling Sean Hannity? Again, this goes to my argument that we had similarly, where Trump was calling Joe Biden the crookedest crooked person you've ever crookeded in your crooked life. And the argument being, of course, that if he was that crooked, shouldn't he be in jail by now? If he was the most crooked ever, then it should be easy to find the evidence. But apparently, they found a lot of criminal activity, is the argument. I don't know if they were just looking at Jim Jordan's emails during his time at OSU or what. We'll find out.
Breaking today, Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer is now inviting Hunter Biden to appear at a public hearing along with a few of his business associates, including Tony Bobolinsky and Devin.
So you're going to have them all there at once? I don't think
Archer.
so.
Now, remember, Hunter and his team, they have been demanding a public hearing for months. Originally, they said that he wouldn't show up for anything other than a public hearing. But now, well, not so sure. After his deposition, Hunter's lawyer said, quote, "Oh, there's nothing left to say. Oh, there's plenty of questions to ask. So it's to be determined." In terms of whether Hunter will show up or not. My guess is that was nothing more at the time than a PR stunt to get him out of the deposition. Here with the very latest.
How would it? It couldn't get you out of the deposition unless you knew the Republicans were going to fold and not bring you in public no matter what. I think he basically called their bluff is essentially it. And they agreed that there would be a public hearing afterwards.
Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer is with us. Now, the general practice is that if you subpoena somebody, they come in, they give a deposition, they give it under oath. Both Republicans and Democrats, my understanding is you get an hour each per side, then you go an hour, you switch on and off, correct?
That's correct.
That's what actually happened.
How did that go when Hunter was in there, in your view?
Yeah, he's not the guy you want to ask, Sean, because he fucking left. I don't know if you guys know. He left. He never asked Hunter Biden a question. He left. He didn't stay the whole time. Here's a good idea. Ask somebody who was there the entire fucking time.
Yeah, I think it went great.
Yeah, especially the the beginning went great. The first couple of minutes were great. They were awesome. Awesome. Like first half hour, a little under half hour was great.
Republicans, we went the first hour.
Well, you went during the first hour, I think, went out.
You asked a lot of questions in that first hour, substantive questions about specific transactions with some of these shady LLCs that the president's son had, and we got him on record. I'm not going to say yet whether or not we believe the truthfulness of what he said about some of the transactions and some of the wires and some of the sources of the money, but we did that, and that's what a
Well, why not? You already released the fucking transcript. Everybody knows what you're talking about. Say so. Call him a liar. If he lied under oath, fucking say so. It should be you asked really substantive questions about these transactions, about these shady LLCs. So if you know, then fucking say so. You've interviewed James Biden. You've interviewed Galadzi or whatever his name was. And Bobolinsky and Devin Archer. You've had all these people under oath full depositions. Go for it.
Position's all about. Then the Democrats had an hour, and they only took 20 minutes of their hour, and they were telling him how proud they were of him, that he overcame his drug addiction and all that. I mean, it was embarrassing how the Democrats treated him. They're not serious.
How would you know?
Serious about an investigation. They're not.
Because there was no there. And also, they weren't asking him those questions. They clarified a bunch of the bullshit that they were trying to dirty him up with in the first hour, and sank their entire argument. It upset the Republicans so much that when Gates ended up asking a question, he ended up just having to kind of like throw shit around like he was at a hearing.
Serious about preventing influence peddling. They're not serious about holding one accountable.
Influence peddling. You mean during 2017 when Donald Trump was fucking president and Biden wasn't, and he still wasn't in business with Hunter? What influence?
But we did that deposition. We got a lot of substantive answers. But
yes, you did. You got substantive answers to dipshit questions.
What we found was his answers, believe it or not, Sean, are very different from what his associates' answers were.
Right, because they were talking about what they thought he was doing or saying or thinking, and he told you what he was actually doing or saying or thinking. And so, yeah.
When asked the same question, and the questions revolving around Joe Biden's involvement. So we want to bring everyone in together and try to iron out the discrepancies in testimony. So we brought in, we're going to bring in 3 of Hunter Biden's former business partners, as well as Hunter Biden, and hopefully we can figure out what the real truth is, and the American people can see it live and in a transparent manner.
Not a fucking game show, asshole. He's not going to sit there while Tony Bobulinski spews his bullshit. And what do you want him to do? Get into a fucking shouting match? Like, what a bunch of nonsense. Like, obviously, it'd be great TV. Don't get me wrong.
Why do I suspect that was a PR ploy to try to get him out of the deposition?
Because you already said you thought that before?
And where the real questioning takes place, because a lot.
Why would the real questioning take place during a live deposition where you've only got 5 minutes for each person's questioning, and you can do point of order and basically run out the clock? Why would you wait? Is that the idea, that Comer left the room during the first hour of the private deposition because that's not where the real questioning is, and we'll deal with it later? That's what you think really happens?
A lot of things probably that you've been asking him behind closed doors under oath are not things that maybe the public could know about.
What? Oh, you mean the public that can't read? Why don't you tell us about it, motherfucker? Why don't you tell us? He's sitting right there. Ask Comer any of the questions the Democrats asked in the second hour. What was it? What was the look on people's faces? Ask him that. Or how about this? Fuck the Democrats. Ask him about the second hour questioning the Republicans did, and what the air in the room is. Help him. Ask him to paint the picture of it, Sean. How about that? How about let him walk you through, bring you really into it. Like you were there, even though he wasn't.
So I think it's doubtful. Now I understand the issue of criminal referrals has come up. Are you prepared to bring criminal referrals to some of the people involved in this family endeavor, if you will?
I'm very prepared, Sean.
With what?
The purpose of this investigation was to get the truth to the American people.
And so far, the truth has been you don't have any evidence.
Then hold people accountable for wrongdoing. And we found a lot of wrongdoing. We found a lot of criminal activity.
Oh, yeah? Criminal activity? What do you mean, like criminal cosplay, or they were just a bunch of criminals playing squash, or what?
Multiple people involved in these schemes.
What do you mean, Devin Archer and Galazzi or whatever, who are going to jail for defrauding Indian tribes?
So we're going to do what we can to hold them accountable. At the end of the day, what does accountability look like?
Yeah, I agree. This is what accountability looks like. What do you mean?
It looks like criminal referrals. It looks like referring people to the Department of Justice.
It looks like it. It's not, but it looks like it.
And if Merrick Garland's Department of Justice won't take any potential criminal referrals seriously, then maybe the next president with a new Attorney General will. At the end of the day, my goal's always been accountability, and I think that's how you actually hold people accountable. Look.
Yeah, accountable for accountable. There was a thing. There was hold them accountable for. Fuck, I don't. It happened. I remember it happened in 2017, and I remember you got to hold politicians. Obviously, none of them were politicians at the time, but you got to hold people who have influence. You don't have any influence because Trump was president, and he certainly wouldn't listen to Joe Biden, for fuck's sake. You had to hold them accountable for. Yeah.
We've got to set an example for people that.
Oh, you do. Well, you certainly do. You're a fantastic example of a wiffle ball swing and a miss. That's what just not hitting shit. Just gutter ball after gutter ball after gutter ball. Great example. What not to do.
Commit crimes. And in addition to the crime, Sean, what we found is a cover-up.
Well, I mean, obviously, you found more cover-up than crime because you haven't actually found any crimes.
I would like to name names of people that were involved in the cover-up.
Go ahead.
Look, the Bidens have been investigated by the Securities and Exchange Commission, by the IRS, by the FBI, by multiple U.S. attorneys in multiple districts within the Department of Justice.
During the Trump administration.
But yet nothing ever happened.
Yeah, it's weird. It's all that lack of evidence thing. Fuck.
We need to hold people in the government accountable because we have government agencies. We spend a lot of money paying these investigators, paying for these investigations.
And if they can't find a crime, they should just make one.
And people should be held accountable. We should not have a two-tier system of justice in America.
I agree. Trump needs to go to jail. Thanks. We finally agree on something.
And by looking at all the Biden activity, it's obvious we do have a two-tier criminal justice system in America.
Yeah, well, that's just because you can attack, I guess, private citizens using the power of Congress and protect Trump while he's president. Is that what you mean?
Can you explain his...
Careful. I'm going to go with no.
Answer on the WhatsApp message. I believe he said that he was out of his mind, either high on drugs or drunk at the time. I've looked at the message many times. It seems fairly coherent for somebody that's claiming to be out of their mind or high on drugs or stoned out of their mind or drunk. And it's...
Well, he was a functional alcoholic. I'll give you that.
It's interesting because my understanding is he didn't remember a single thing, didn't remember if he sent the message, didn't even know if the message really came from him. But he did remember one thing, that his father wasn't there when he sent the message. I find that highly suspicious.
Why? That would be kind of the big element of it. Because he knew he was making promises that weren't true, or he was making threats that weren't true, would be the idea.
Got everything else about the message except the fact that Joe wasn't there. That I remember.
Yeah, he played the drug card often when he would get backed in a corner.
What the fuck do you guys play about him? Jesus Christ. You're the ones showing a picture of him smoking in a fucking bathtub all the time.
He never pled the fifth, but when he didn't want to answer a question, he said, look, I was high, I was on drugs.
Right, just like he said in his memoir, just like he said in every interview.
Can't remember anything, but I do remember my dad wasn't there. He went on to say, when pressed further in the deposition, and you can do that in the deposition. That's why I wanted to do the deposition first. You're not constrained by that 5-minute clock in a
Right, and that's what Sean seems to not understand, that that he would avoid one, and you can't get into the deeper questions during this part. You're just... Thank you for pointing out that this is where you get into the deeper questions when you can't do that in front of which is what Sean seemed to flip-flop right then, because he's what's the phrase? Hold on, I think it's here somewhere.
I agree. I'm a dope.
There you go.
Committee hearing, and we said, well, how do you remember that your dad wasn't there, but you don't remember sending the message? He said, Well, I don't believe I sent it to that particular Chinese person. That last name, that's a common name in China, and I think I sent it to another person. But what's odd, you look at the WhatsApp stream, and that person kept responding back to Hunter Biden. They were communicating back and forth. It's obvious. And at the end of the day, what Hunter Biden was doing was extorting money from that Chinese national.
Okay, if he's extorting money from the Chinese national, then they certainly don't have power over him. Let's just establish that. So either he's being blackmailed and they're being puppeted by the Chinese, or this motherfucker is strong-arming Chinese nationals. Which normally, if Trump bragged about it, you motherfuckers would be going, that's strength. He stole from our enemies and told them to go fuck themselves. Right? That would be the idea.
Days after that WhatsApp message, the $5 million was transferred into his bank account. So for Hunter Biden to say he didn't remember sending the message, or he sent it to the other person, but his dad wasn't.
It wasn't sent to his bank account. Again, you're misstating the thing. Yeah.
There, that's all he remembers. No one in America would believe that.
And that money was.
Well, that's the great part, though. We don't have to worry. We don't have to believe it or not believe it. You've got the evidence. Right? There's like evidence up to our eyeballs. There's evidence everywhere. Criminal activity. Even the title of this. We found a lot of criminal activity. You found it. I don't have to believe it. Nobody has to believe. It's not about belief. What is this fucking church? This is the court of law. This is law of man shit. This is law and order. Gung, gung. I don't have to believe shit. You got the receipts? Let's see it, motherfucker.
And only days later, if my memory serves me right.
Probably doesn't.
Correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
Well, let me then ask you this question, because I think this is important.
What do you mean if your memory serves you? Like, you just repeated what he said. And by the way, he was arguing about the money being transferred for the deal. You put the seed money in, or I'm not moving further on this fucking deal, and you've been wasting my fucking time. That's the argument that's being made in that WhatsApp message. If you don't come through on this, I've already started building relationships on the idea that we're actually going to create this terminal, and this is actually going to fucking happen. And if you guys don't live up to your end of the bargain, I'm fucking done with you. And everybody I know is going to be done with you. And my dad is going to shit talk you to everybody if they ever ask about whatever happened to that deal your son was making with that thing. I'm going to let him know that you're a piece of shit and you don't live up to your side of the bargain. Click. That's essentially the argument that was happening. So, of course, all the money showing up 5 days later is that the deal started. It wasn't even their fucking money. They didn't get to keep it. It was investment money. It was seed money. It only became Hunter's money for the legal services that he gave in forming the company in the first place, which is what Bobulinski's pissed about, because he wanted more of it, and he also wanted more votes and more control than anybody else in the company, which is fucking hilarious. But even after that, the rest of the money didn't end up going into their accounts, or they didn't get to keep it until it fell through because the Chinese company would not set up an American subsidiary.
Can you confirm, and has your committee confirmed, whether or not Hunter was at Joe's house and whether Joe was there at the time that the messages went back and forth?
Well, that should be an easy one, right?
If you look at the laptop,
Nope. Doesn't work that way.
Particular day, there are pictures of Hunter in the house on that particular day. Now, we haven't confirmed whether or not Joe Biden was at the house, but it was.
That would be a no.
But
also, first of all, there is no laptop. Secondly, he doesn't actually cop to that message being real. But the argument, if it happened, it was about those kind of things. That's the point he was trying to make. He didn't remember making it specifically, but that's the problem with digital files that have been fucked with. Some of it's real, some of it's completely fake, some of it's partially fake. All they do is add a couple sentences here, do other stuff like that. And none of the pictures on the laptop have any fucking metadata. None of it. This whole bullshit, like, here's a picture of him from that day. Bullshit. No, you don't.
Hunter Biden was at Joe Biden's house that particular day, according to pictures on the laptop. So,
that's not a source. No, he wasn't. There's no metadata. There's no, he's been at the house before and after and during and whenever. It doesn't matter.
Evidence would point that there's a high possibility
that doesn't work. It would be real easy to figure out
that Joe Biden was in fact sitting beside his son. But Hunter said under oath that even though he was high and on drugs, he couldn't remember anything except that his dad wasn't sitting beside him when he sent that.
He remembered lying.
Message.
That's very convenient for his father, isn't it?
Well, not if you guys ever find evidence that shows he was home on that day. And since he was a former vice president, there's a shit ton of information as to where he was and when he was at that particular house or another house or out of town or across the other side of the country giving speeches or what have you. One would think.
Pretty
Very
amazing.
convenient.
All right, we'll look forward. We're going to wait for those criminal referrals and see what.
Yeah, wait for them. You just keep waiting. You know what I mean? You don't have to. You don't want to wait for the evidence first? Yeah, I mean, just if you're going to wait for something, I would wait in stages. Biden's on the way to the State of the Union. I should hope so. He's 10 minutes away? Should we check in, ladies and gentlemen? By the way, hi chat room. Love you guys. Let's play Statuary Hall, fabulous. Oh, there's people walking in. Is that the senators walking in? Did everybody join? Yeah. I have to say, I've been to Statuary Hall many, many times, and I love it. Big fan. Oftentimes, when Summer and I are there, because we do the tourist thing when we're there, I got some folks I could twist some arms, that kind of thing, you know. I could get, you know, passes and VIP things, but most of the time, Summer and I like to, you know, just go public, just do the thing, you know, do it like everybody else. It's great. I've sent you photos of it. Thank you, VJ Kodak. This is, okay, I'm bouncing minus, what it is. I see. Okay, cool. Yeah, ask your, yeah, sure, that's true. Your congressman can accommodate and get you in. That's true. But a lot of times I can just get in anyways. But Statuary Hall, there's usually a lot of media, especially these days. I mean, like, since Trump, there's way more media just kind of on the daily. You know, it used to be that they would only if there was like a big story, would they, you know, have their shit over under on interruptions. I'm sorry. Oh, you mean people yelling? Apparently they've talked people out of it. They've said not to. But a lot of times, like, you used to be able to go there and like, okay, there's media because there's a big thing happening or there's a vote happening that's one particular thing. Now they're just fucking camped out. Can you order the horror to go? I feel like I should, maybe I could do, let's see. I have an idea. It's just a thought. Don't worry about this. One second. Let's do this. In here. Go to this. That. Okay. There we go. This. Comes order. Yeah. There a Nickelodeon simulcast? Yes, there is. Get a chamber shot. Well, this is the State of the Union shot from the Associated Press. So they'll go to the floor when it happens. Right now they're just kind of running here, unless they. Oh, here we go.
Ms. Klobuchar, yeah. The senator from Virginia, Mr. Warner. The senator from Wisconsin, Ms. Baldwin. The senator from Kentucky, Mr. McConnell. The senator from South Dakota, Mr. Thune. The senator from Wyoming, Mr. Barrasso. The senator from West Virginia, Mrs. Capito. And the senator from Iowa, Ms. Ernst.
The members of the escort committee will exit the chamber through the lobby doors.
How do you do? For Iowa values, that's Joni Ernst, where Trump couldn't get out Iowa values. Iowa values. Yes. quiet, but you hear it. Values. Thank you, CW04 Randy. Thank you so much. By the way, hit that like. Give a thumbs up, support the show. Hi. Patreon.com/HouseParks keeps the show alive. And, of course, super chats and bits and stars are always welcome. And whatever currency they're using over on Shitter. Hold on one second. It's more like a long form. I have a stool.
Mr. Speaker, the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps.
Please be Howard Dean. Yeah! When would Sexy Liberals come to Cali? We just did the Saban, so I don't know if they're going to add another one. I think they will. Probably this fall. Close. I can't wait. I'm gonna yell. I'm gonna say something. Boo! Boo! Boo, Joe Biden. Boo. I talked to your son the other day. On the behalf of the real Americans in Wyoming. Hi, Harriet Hagman. I'm going to boo you. I boo. I don't like your boy. I don't like him. I don't like him. Harriet, knock it off, okay? Try to mind your manners. I will mind my manners if I want to. You can't tell me what to do, Mr. Un-American commie, socialist, lefty, fascist, monarchist, theocrat, jerkweed.
Mr. Speaker, the Chief Justice and Associate Justices of the Supreme Court.
Or as I like to call them, 9-0. I'm ready to watch tonight. I think I should think on behalf of Dark Brandon I'm dressed for the part tonight, if that's cool with you guys. I will say that Kavanaugh seems to be the one aging the worst. It's only been a short while, and every time I see him, he looks more and more bagged out. Like he was never expecting to have this kind of a schedule. Yeah? Okay, and some pictures. There we go. There must be a thing about wearing white. Somebody sent a message. Wearing white. I don't know what that is. I happen to know that would be an ironic color for some of the ladies. If I do say so my goddamn self. Apparently it wasn't 9-0. No, you don't think so? I'll put C-SPAN on. Okay. Is it a better take for some reason? Kavanaugh's always grinning. I don't know. It kind of looks like he's close to crying. It's like hard to tell. Oh, wearing white in support of reproductive rights. There you go. Thank you. That makes sense. Please rage until the decorum breaker's off or something. Okay, we'll do. Debating if I should grab some food before it begins or wait till after. I think you'll be all right. I think you can. If I need to pause it for you, I can. We can hang out, no big deal. Come on now. It's all right. Yeah, I guess I'm in for in for a penny, in for a pound, So I guess we're here for the evening, you know what I'm saying? All right.
Now, I'd like to point out, if you look around the room, that most of those people are androids. They're dressed in civilian attire, but they're actually androids sent by the aliens to make sure nothing happens without permission. Yeah. I don't believe any of that shit. Believe it. It's a fact.
It's what?
A fact. That's how you pronounce it. Hard C. Fact. Like you're choking to death at the end of the word. Fact. Ooh, there's a bunch of pictures. What's that? Hey, oh, picture.
From the Associated Press, this is the State of the Union Address, live from the nation's capital.
Jesus Christ, we have solid
Welcome
gold dancers.
to the Associated Press's coverage of the State of the
State of the Union. My name's Josh. I'm confused. Hey, we're sorry anyway. We're the Association of Press People. I took over this. Nobody knows why. That guy got really loud really fast. Sorry about that. Good Lord.
I don't believe this guy's part of the Associated Press. I think he looks like AI. That guy looks like a fake nerd if I've ever seen one. Because I see him, but I'm not getting my nerd rage that makes me want to shove him into a locker. Yeah, locker in the locker. That's what I end up doing. And then after giving him a chocolate swirly in the boys' room, you know what I mean? I have that idea. Hi. Hello. Fantastic. I'm doing the SOTU right now. My girlfriend just walked in and just saw what I'm doing with my face.
Hi. Yes? Huh? Yeah, I'm live streaming. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, sorry. But I've got Maddie. I can do that. Hold on. Wait, Maddie, don't go. Oh, she's running away. Come back, Maddie. Where are you going? So close. We almost had Maddie. Chip's laying on the fucking stairs over there like a fucking harbor seal. Yeah, that's good. Let's see. There you go. 14.8 million jobs added. That's true. This is what he's going to be talking about tonight. Is that what this whole thing is?
naturally going to come back as the economy recovered from the pandemic. Secondly, is going to point out the unemployment rate at 3.7%. That's a serious drop since when he took office. And he's also going to discuss inflation. Now, inflation is down at about 3.1%.
Yeah, they're expecting 2.6%.
It had peaked at 9.1% in the summer of 2022. And that really hurt the president's approval rating. And he still knows that Americans are struggling with the cost of housing and groceries. And we see in these numbers that many Americans are not satisfied by his economic leadership. Just 34% approve. So tonight is the opportunity for the president to try to bring the country over to his side, to see things his way, as he believes the country is faring. It is a chance for him in an election year to go after his likely competitor in this year's election, Republican Donald Trump, the former president, a possible rematch of the 2020 election. Now, according to aides, Biden is not going to say Trump's name. He's going to talk about his predecessor. He's going to talk about someone else who is similarly his age. Biden is 81, Trump is 77. He wants to draw that contrast on what it means to govern responsibly, on what it means to have a sense of
Yes, I'll wait till he says it, dum-dum. Hold on, let me try to go to C-SPAN itself. Hold on. See if I can do that. Hold on. Here we go. Let's see. Since I'm not going to pause it, it should be okay. chit chat. You're going to talking to the Supreme Court Justice about, is that Boebert with Matt Gaetz? Jesus Christ. Are all the like acute sex offenders? There's Massey, who did vote for, who's like pushing for DeSantis and is kind of persona non grata with a bunch of those folks. Ronnie Jackson, you need some pills? Hey, can I get some of those fentanyl lollipops that you like? Those are sweet. I love those. I'm trying to get some of those. Shit. I got a single advantage up. It's ready to go. It's a lot of crowd noise. That's a good shot. Wait, Bernie has a mask, but he's not wearing it? And, oh, he finds it. You think it's funny, do you? I see. She's like, got the mask, and I got my thing. All right. Everybody wants to meet Ketanji, and then, like, when they have to stand near Gorsuch to do it. Like, yeah. Bernie's mask off tonight. GOP's waiting. Biden board price buttons on their jackets. I see. Well, I think it's interesting. So the last time, if you recall, one of the things he brought up was, he basically forced the vote on one issue. I'm blitzing on what it was right now. But he has a similar ability in this situation to call on them to pass the border bill. It's the most conservative border bill, and bring it to the floor, and I know it will pass. And if you think you can make improvements to it, then you can do that after the election. But the reason you don't want to vote for it is because you know it will work. Yeah. Rashida Tlaib is wearing her reproductive rights white outfit, even though she voted with the maybe I'll vote for Trump if you're not good crowd. If you're telling Biden, who's the only person winning, and who's going to be the nominee, that you're not committed to voting for him, how dare you wear white to this thing? Right? Because the choice is between him and Trump. And Trump, anybody who thinks Trump's even going to do like the lighter version, that he's going to protect IVF even, or contraceptives, you're fucking kidding yourself. Like the evangelicals are telling everybody, he's lying about the 15 weeks thing. He's going to put people in that will shut everything down. There's the second gentleman. Trump's going to treat Tlaib respectfully. Oh yeah, absolutely. She's not committed to voting for Biden. She might vote for the guy that did the Muslim ban. That's for real. And again, if that's just posturing, it's impotent. If you mean it, it's fucking insane. Yeah, so anyways, I always thought I was Moses and stuff. Oh, great. Standing next to a fucking crazy person. I'm going to move the chat box so that we can... Excuse me 1 second. I just had to go get some gummy bears. Excuse me 1 second. I just had to go get some gummy bears. Politics prom. Yeah, Muslims for Trump, Jews for Hitler, right? Gays for Gaza, or gays for Gaza.
Mr. Speaker, the President's Cabinet.
There's Blinken, hardest working man in politics right now. Janet Yellen, who has is the tiniest member of the cabinet and probably has the biggest impact. I mean, when he's talking about monetary policy and the shit that she's been able to pull off between her and Powell, pretty amazing. She was a great choice. Mayorkas is there. He's back a few. Lloyd Austin's there. There's Mayor Pete, Jennifer Granholm, back in there. There's Mayorkas. Yeah, he's back. He's right back there. I can't wait for all the Republican, like the Glenn Becks and all those assholes to, make all their virgin white jokes about people fighting for abortion rights because they're assholes. That's where that's going to go. I mean, I guess you could kind of know it's coming anyways and just leave them. Sometimes one of the best things you could do from a political standpoint is give somebody the worst joke to run with. Like it's the most obvious one that everything else just seems like derivative. So you just hit the nail on the head and let them, hammer on that and it's not going to do anything. There's Goober Kennedy and Ted Cruz. Ted Kruczynski. Future President Mayor Pete. I'm going to go with the first gay president that we know of. First out gay president. It's been a long 240 some odd years, right? So. And Lloyd Austin's, he's there in spite of health issues, right? Yeah, there's Merrick Garland. Boy, are they pissed at him. Blinken was just in Sweden. Yeah, Blinken's all over the... Can't see. Chad is covering it. I'm sorry. I brought it down, Andrea. There's Jennifer Granholm. She's great, too. I'm saying that's a ticket. Just saying. Mayor Pete and Jennifer Granholm is a ticket. That'd be a pretty great ticket. President and Vice. That'd be pretty great. Either direction, by the way. Granholm's terrific. Again, we have a deep bench. They have a cult. Ooh, it's crowded too. It's a lot of energy. Maybe it's just me. Probably just me.
This is obviously where all the deals are made. People glad-handing. It's like one giant smoke-filled room where like only 30% of them are fucking aliens. That's what I heard anyways.
Who's the designated survivor? It's a good question. Sure as shit isn't Mike Johnson. Jamie, put up on the big screen how this is all CGI. Remember that video I was watching the other day? Jamie, can you put it up on the big screen? That thing I was watching about how they pre-record this thing and everybody's CGI and it's all done in the Unreal Engine and Lloyd Austin is actually Bigfoot. But read that video, or was I just baked out of my fucking gourd watching YouTube videos again and made a mistake? Jamie, can you put up on the big screen that part? Yeah. One wonders if whoever's sitting next to Boebert is getting very excited or nervous, one or the other, or perhaps both. I mean, sitting next to her in a crowd where there's any kind of performance or show or event going on must be very exciting. It's like, it's the car ride to an 8th grade dance. Oh, I think it's going to happen. Somebody's going to touch it, Jamie, put up that video of her fondling her dude at Beetlejuice. Yeah, put up that video about how Gina Davis works for the Pentaveret. Oh, free heaven. That's the family of the Wall Street Journal reporter.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
All right. Let's do this. Ease up, ladies. There's enough of me to go around. Hey, guys. How you doing, man? What's happening with... That's the problem with him. Like when he goes back to the Senate, he's like, oh, yeah, this is what I used to do, except nobody applauded like this when I came in. Cardona is the DSS, thank you. Oh, the designated survivor. Thanks, Doc Spano. I gotta say, this must fucking grind on them how much chit-chat he makes on his way in. Because everybody wants to talk to him and they actually give a shit and he actually engages. Whereas Trump's like, me, fucking me, all the way in there. And then he fucking bails afterwards. This must drive them ape shit. Because everybody's like, oh, fuck, right, this guy's got friends. Greg Kelly's going to do this whole big thing about, like, he's got to, it's disgusting. He's got to talk to everybody. Like, yeah, we get it. You were in the Senate for a long time. Yeah. Jesus. He's like, look at the outfit, the Make America Great Again, the whole, like, hat. He's like, whoa, look at that. Is that a Trump 2020 hat? She's trying to hand him a pin. That's adorable. Yeah, like, can you just get to the speech already? Yeah, we get it. Everybody likes you and they want pictures. God damn it. I swear to God, this is aggravating the fuck out of everybody. Is she wearing a, like, that? That lady was wearing a Trump 2020 hat, for real. Not a Trump 2024. Oh, that's Marge. She's like trying to hand him a pin. She's holding up a pin. He just looked at it. He's like, hand her an Ashley Babbitt pin. It was a pin. I think about like the girl who was killed by. I'm guessing. It sounds like it. The girl who was killed by an immigrant. By the way, a Venezuelan immigrant, for the record, that was actually allowed into the country under Trump. But who gives a shit, right? Oh, it's to stop the the Biden border crisis pin? Because she said, what's her name? He said, say her name about somebody. I didn't hear the name because they didn't cut to it fast. There was no mic on her, so. Everybody's taking a picture. There we go. It's always got it. Nice sparkly phone. Hit it. There you go. Get selfies afterwards. Joe Manchin and Mitt Romney. Said the scariest thing about this guy is he's got complete integrity. He was talking about Romney. To Joe Manchin. Which, by the way, whether you believe it or not, in the world of politics, that's the way you get someone on board for all the shit you want to accomplish. Does that make sense? Because if you need both their votes, which he does, for most of the shit they want to pass, which he does, you're not going to go, oh, this motherfucker. Like, he didn't even do that with Marge, and she was being gross. That's, by the way, why we need, politicians and debaters at best, but not fighters in Congress, because fighting just, creates a bigger distance between you and views the other person as not just your opponent, but your enemy in that regard. And then you don't get anything done. And if the goal is to not get anything done, then that works. Then that's what you do. That's what you want. You want fighters in there. If the goal is to not actually make any progress, fighter is what you want. There you go. So, I will say, seems to be a lot more I'm trying to remember if I ever saw Trump kiss a black lady on the cheek, much less 6 of them on his way in. Now, granted, I know what you're going to say. There aren't that many in the Republican Party or as part of their voting bloc or touche, but still. You could have imported some, I suppose, right? Somebody could have, I don't know, invited somebody as a guest, maybe? Yeah, I'm going to buzz right past Kavanaugh. Hi, guys. Oh, you again. Something smells. You make it smell beer? Jesus Christ. Did you spill it on yourself? Oh, hey, Brett. Mayorkas, yeah. There's Dan Goldman. Everybody's giving the old go get him. He's like, this is not a meeting. This is State of the Union. Just get to it. That's what everybody's like. Yeah, we get it. You know everybody. I saw Bernie. He's like, hey. And now Joe Rogan and all these assholes are going to put up, video, he's saying hi to people that aren't even there because the person's off camera. Jimmy, put up that video of Joe Biden saying hi to nobody because the person he's saying hi to is just off camera. And so we can say that he said hi to nobody because he's seeing ghosts. And put up that video where I got the name wrong of the guy so that I could pretend that he got the name wrong of the guy he actually got right. I'm laying down his little pen. Here's a copy of my speech. Suck on this, Moses. And of course, Mrs. Vice President, ladies, terrific. All right, there you go. 7 fellas. Jamie, put up that thing where he salutes to somebody who deserves it, but the guy's off camera, so they can just pretend he's saluting a piece of the wall. I'll turn up the audio a little bit. I'm going to keep my chit-chat to a minimum.
Thank you. Here's a drill.
Oh, yeah, Mike Johnson's like, stop cheering for him. It's bumming me out.
Good evening. Good evening. If I were smart, I'd go home now. Mr. Speaker, Madam Vice President, members of Congress, my fellow Americans, in January 1941, Franklin Roosevelt came to this chamber to speak to the nation, and he said, I address you at a moment unprecedented in the history of the Union. Hitler was on the march. War was raging in Europe. President Roosevelt's purpose was to wake up Congress and alert the American people that this was no ordinary time. Freedom and democracy were under assault in the world. Tonight, I come to this same chamber to address the nation. Now, it's we who face an unprecedented moment in the history of the Union. And yes, my purpose tonight is to wake up the Congress and alert the American people that this is no ordinary moment either. Not since President Lincoln and the Civil War have freedom and democracy been under assault at home as they are today. What makes our moment rare is that freedom and democracy are under attack both at home and overseas at the very same time. Overseas, Putin of Russia is on the march, invading Ukraine and sowing chaos throughout Europe and beyond. If anybody in this room thinks Putin will stop at Ukraine, I assure you he will not.
But only because he said so.
But Ukraine can stop Putin. Ukraine can stop Putin if we stand with Ukraine and provide the weapons that it needs to defend itself.
I get a lame-ass, impotent nodding from Mike Johnson. He's clapping, but he won't stand.
That is all Ukraine is asking. They're not asking for American soldiers. In fact, there are no American soldiers at war in Ukraine, and I'm determined to keep it that way. But now, assistance to Ukraine is being blocked by those who want to walk away from our world leadership. It wasn't long ago when a Republican president named Ronald Reagan thundered, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Now, my predecessor, a former Republican president, tells Putin, quote, do whatever the hell you want. That's a quote. A former president actually said that, bowing down to a Russian leader. I think it's outrageous, it's dangerous, and it's unacceptable.
He's quoting Reagan to dig at the Republicans, not because he's building up Reagan. He doesn't have to do that. That's the point. It's supposed to nudge them. You have to hear what he's saying through that window, through that.
The military alliance of democratic nations, created after World War II, to prevent war and keep the peace. And today, we've made NATO stronger than ever. We welcomed Finland to the alliance last year. And just this morning, Sweden officially joined, and their minister is here tonight. Come here, stand up. Welcome.
And while he's here, of course, he will be visiting Victor Broughton, the bass player for Nerd Halen, performing in Vegas a week from Saturday. So, Victor is Swedish.
And they know how to fight.
Goddamn right they do.
Mr. Prime Minister, welcome to NATO, the strongest military alliance the world has ever seen. I say this to Congress, we have to stand up to Putin. Send me a bipartisan national security bill. History is literally watching. History is watching. If the United States walks away, it will put Ukraine at risk. Europe is at risk. The free world will be at risk, emboldening others to do what they wish to do us harm. My message to President Putin, who I've known for a long time, is simple. We will not walk away.
Hashtag get the fuck out.
We will not bow down. I will not bow down. In a literal sense, history is watching. History is watching. Just like history watched 3 years ago on January 6th, when insurrectionists stormed this very Capitol and placed a dagger to the throat of American democracy. Many of you were here on that darkest of days. We all saw with our own eyes the insurrectionists were not patriots. They'd come to stop the peaceful transfer of power, to overturn the will of the people. January 6th lies about the 2020 election and the plots to steal the election posed a gravest threat to U.S. democracy since the Civil War. But they failed.
That's right.
America stood.
What are you fucking shaking your head about? Shouldn't your guy be able to win the old-fashioned way, you lazy fuck?
And democracy prevailed. We must be honest. The threat to democracy must be defended. My predecessor and some of you here seek to bury the truth about January 6th.
Shit.
I will not do that. This is the moment to speak the truth and to bury the lies. Here's the simple truth. You can't love your country only when you win.
Damn. Damn, son.
As I've done ever since being elected to office, I ask all of you without regard to party to join together and defend democracy. Remember your oath of office of defending against all threats, foreign and domestic. Respect free and fair elections. Restore trust in our institutions. And make clear political violence has absolutely no place in America, zero place. Again, it's not hyperbole to suggest history is watching. We're watching.
That's going to be
your children and grandchildren will read about this day and what we do. History is watching another assault on freedom. Joining us tonight is Latoya Beasley, a social worker from Birmingham, Alabama. 14 months ago, she and her husband welcomed a baby girl thanks to the miracle of IVF. She scheduled treatments to have that second child. But the Alabama Supreme Court shut down IVF treatments across the state, unleashed by a Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade. She was told her dream would have to wait. What her family had got through should never have happened. Unless Congress acts, it could happen again. So tonight, let's stand up for families like hers. To my friends across the aisle, don't keep this waiting any longer. Guarantee the right to AVF. Guarantee it nationwide.
Guarantee the right to IVF. Guarantee it nationwide. That's a pretty direct. That's an interesting place to
Americans, I believe Roe v. Wade got it right. I thank Vice President Harris for being an incredible leader, defending reproductive freedom, and so much more.
IVF is a win that the Alabama Supreme Court gave to Democrats to run with.
My predecessor came to office determined to see Roe v. Wade overturned. He's the reason it was overturned, and he brags about it. Look at the chaos that has resulted. Joining us tonight is Kate Cox, the wife and mother from Dallas. She's become pregnant again and had a fetus of a fatal condition. Her doctor told Kate that her own life and her ability to have children in the future were at risk if she didn't act. Because Texas law banned her ability to act, Kate and her husband had to leave the state to get what she needed. What her family got through should have never happened as well, but it's happening in too many others. There are state laws banning the freedom to choose, criminalizing doctors, forcing survivors of rape and incest to leave their states to get the treatment they need. Many of you in this chamber and my predecessor are promising to pass a national ban on reproductive freedom. My God, what freedom else would you take away? Look,
he's not
the
holding
decision
back.
to overturn
Wow.
Roe v. Wade, the Supreme Court majority wrote the following, and with all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you're right about that. Clearly.
Ouch. God damn. This is I gotta say, I'm impressed. This is not the speech I thought was coming. I thought, dude came to play. He's gonna end with the economic message, and that's the thing that's gonna there's a positive message after this, and this is what we do.
They have no clue about the power of women, but they found out when reproductive freedom was on the ballot. We won in 2022 and 2020, and we'll win again in 2024.
Yep. And these are the folks that, well, obviously not these ladies, but these are the ones that gave it to the Democrats.
If you, the American people, send me a Congress that supports the right to choose, I promise you, I'll restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land again.
Moses is nodding. Yeah, we probably will.
Folks, America cannot go back. I'm here tonight to show what I believe is the way forward, because I know how far we come. 4 years ago next week, before I came to office, the country was hit by the worst pandemic and the worst economic crisis in a century. Remember the fear, record losses? Remember the spikes in crime and the murder rate, raging virus that took more than 1 million American lives, of loved ones, millions left behind? A mental health crisis of isolation and loneliness. A president, my predecessor, failed the most basic presidential duty that he owes to American people, the duty to care. I think that's unforgivable. I came to office determined to get us through one of the toughest periods in the nation's history. We have. It doesn't make news in 1,000 cities and towns. The American people are writing the greatest comeback story never told.
There we go. American people are writing, that'll be the line. That's, yeah. American people are writing the greatest comeback story never told.
Tell it
never
here and now. America's comeback is building the future of American possibilities, building an economy from the middle out and the bottom up, not the top down. Investing in all America, in all Americans, to make sure everyone has a fair shot, and we leave no one behind. The pandemic no longer controls our lives. The vaccines that saved us from COVID are now being used to beat cancer, turning setback into comeback. That's what America does. That's what America does.
Turning setback into comeback. That's a great line.
Folks, my inherited economy is on the brink. Now our economy is literally the envy of the world. 15 million new jobs in just 3 years, a record, a record. Unemployment at 50-year lows.
Dude can't even stand for
record
unemployment.
16 million Americans are starting small businesses, and each one is a literal act of hope. With historic job growth and small business growth for Black and Hispanics and Asian Americans, 800,000 new manufacturing jobs in America and counting. Where is it written we can't be the manufacturing capital of the world? We are, we will. More people have health insurance today. More people have health insurance today than ever before. The racial wealth gap is as small as it's been in 20 years. Wages keep going up, inflation keeps coming down. Inflation has dropped from 9% to 3%, the lowest in the world and tending lower.
I don't know why he's shaking his head. It's true. You don't have to give him credit for it.
Will be soft. And now, instead of importing foreign products and exporting American jobs, we're exporting American products and creating American jobs. Right here in America, where they belong.
Can't stand for that either. Whatever you do, Republicans, don't stand for jobs should be here in America.
Time, but the American people are beginning to feel it. Consumer studies show consumer confidence is soaring. Buy America has been the law of the land since the 1930s. Past administrations, including my predecessor, including some Democrats as well in the past, failed to buy American. Not anymore. On my watch, federal projects that you fund, like helping build American roads, bridges, and highways, will be made with American products and built by American workers. Creating good-paying American jobs. And thanks to our CHIPS and Science Act, the United States is investing more in research and development than ever before. During the pandemic, a shortage of semiconductors, chips, that drove up the price of everything from cell phones to automobiles. And by the way, we invented those chips right here in America. Well, instead of having to import them, private companies are now investing billions of dollars to build new chip factories here in America, creating tens of thousands of jobs. Many of those jobs paying $100,000 a year and don't require a college degree. In fact, my policies have attracted $650 billion in private sector investment in clean energy, advanced manufacturing, creating tens of thousands of jobs here in America. And thanks to our bipartisan infrastructure law, 46,000 new projects have been announced all across your communities. And by the way, I noticed some of you strongly voted against it, or they're cheering on that money coming in. I like it. I'm with you. I'm with you.
See you at the ribbon cutting.
If any
You voted
of you don't
against
want
it.
that money in your district, just let me know. Modernizing our roads and bridges, ports and airports, public transit systems. Removing poisonous lead pipes so every child can drink clean water without risk of brain damage.
Yep. Single biggest shift in the crime statistics in America.
Providing affordable,
just from that alone.
Affordable
in the next 30 years.
internet for every American, no matter where you live, urban, suburban, or rural communities, in red states and blue states. Record investments in tribal communities. Because of my investment in family farms, because I invested in family farms led by my Secretary of Agriculture, who knows more about this than anybody I know, we're better able to stay in the family for those farms and their children and grandchildren won't have to leave home to make a living. It's transformative. The great comeback story is Belvedere, Illinois, home to an auto plant for nearly 60 years. Before I came to office, the plant was on its way to shutting down. Thousands of workers feared for their livelihoods. Hope was fading. Then I was elected to office, and we raised the Belvedere repeatedly with auto companies, knowing unions would make all the difference. The UAW worked like hell to keep the plant open and get these jobs back, and together we succeeded. Instead of auto factories shutting down, auto factories reopening, and new state-of-the-art battery factories being built to power those cars there at the same.
Also, by the way, one of the biggest electric car battery factories in the country has been built in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district. It's the biggest.
The folks of Belvedere, I say,
it's the most
instead
jobs
of your town
added
being left behind,
to her district.
Your community is moving forward again. Because instead of watching auto jobs in the future go overseas, 4,000 union jobs with higher wages are building the future in Belvedere right here in America. Here tonight is UAW President Shawn Fain, a great friend and a great labor leader. Shawn, where are you? Stand up. And Dawn Sim, a third-generation worker, UAW worker at Belvedere. Shawn, I was proud to be the first president to stand on the picket line, and today, Dawn has a good job in her hometown, providing stability for her family and pride and dignity as well. Showing once again, Wall Street didn't build America. They're not bad guys. They didn't build it, though. The middle class built the country, and unions built the middle class. I say to the American people, when America gets knocked down, we get back up. We keep going. That's America. That's you, the American people. It's because of you America's coming back. It's because of you our future is brighter. It's because of you that tonight we can proudly say the state of our union is strong and getting stronger.
There you go.
Tonight, I want to talk about the future of possibilities that we can build together. A future where the days of trickle-down economics are over and the wealthy and the biggest corporations no longer get all the tax breaks. And by the way, I understand corporations. I come from a state that has more corporations invested than every one of your states in the state of the United States combined.
Yeah, that's right.
And I represented it for 36 years. I'm not anti-corporation, but I grew up in a home where trickle-down economics didn't put much on my dad's kitchen table. That's why I determined to turn things around so middle class does well. When they do well, the poor are way up and the wealthy still do very well. We all do well. And there's more to do to make sure you're feeling the benefits of all we're doing. Americans pay more for prescription drugs than anywhere in the world. It's wrong, and I'm ending it. With the law that I proposed and signed, not one of you Republican buddies voted for it. We finally beat Big Pharma. Instead of paying $400 a month or thereabouts for insulin with diabetes, and it only costs $10 to make, they only get paid $35 a month now and still make a healthy profit. And I want to, but what to do next? I want to cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month for every American who needs it. Everyone. For years, people have talked about it, but finally we got it done and gave Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices on prescription drugs, just like the VA is able to do for veterans. That's not just saving seniors money, it's saving taxpayers money. We cut the federal deficit by $160 billion.
Why is your mask on now, Bernie? Seriously.
We'll no longer have to pay those exorbitant prices to Big Pharma.
Why do you have his mask off and then he wears?
Medicare is negotiating lower prices for some of the costliest drugs on the market to treat everything from heart disease to arthritis. It's now time to go further and give Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices for 500 different drugs over the next decade. They're making a lot of money, guys. And they'll still be extremely profitable. They'll not only save lives, it will save taxpayers another $200 billion. Starting next year, the same law caps total prescription drug costs for seniors on Medicare at $2,000 a year, even for expensive cancer drugs that cost $10,000, $12,000, $15,000. Now I want to cap prescription drug costs at $2,000 a year for everyone. Folks, I'm going to get in trouble for saying that, but if you want to get an Air Force One and fly to Toronto, Berlin, Moscow, well, even Moscow, probably. And bring your prescription with you, and I promise you I'll get it for you for 40% the cost you're paying now. Same company, same drug, same place. Folks, the Affordable Care Act, the old Obamacare, is still a very big deal.
By the way, accidentally saying Moscow and then saying probably there too is a great dig at Republicans. I gotta say, it sounds like a mistake. They thought about adding it during the writing of the speech, and he said it anyways.
Can no longer be denied health insurance because of pre-existing condition. But my predecessor, and many in this chamber, want to take this prescription drug away by repealing the Affordable Care Act. I'm not going to let that happen. We stopped you 50 times before, and we'll stop you again. In fact, I'm not only protecting it, I'm expanding it. We enacted tax credits of $800 per person per year, reduce health care costs for millions of working families. That tax credit expires next year. I want to make that savings permanent.
He literally doesn't know whether to nod or shake his head.
To state the obvious, women are more than half our population, but research on women's health has always been underfunded. That's why we're launching the first ever White House initiative on women's health research, led by Jill, doing an incredible job as first.
There you go. Whoops, sorry.
Lady.
No.
So pass my plan for $12 billion to transfer women's health research and benefit millions of lives all across America. I know the cost of housing is so important to you. If inflation keeps coming down, mortgage rates will come down as well, and the Fed acknowledges that. But I'm not waiting. I want to provide an annual tax credit that will give Americans $400 a month for the next 2 years as mortgage rates come down, to put toward their mortgages when they buy their first home or trade up for a little more space.
Oh, shit.
Just for 2 years.
That's a tax break for people to buy instead of rent. That's
my
smart.
Administration is also eliminating title insurance on federally backed mortgages. When you refinance your home, you can save $1,000 or more as a consequence. For millions of renters, we're cracking down on big landlords who use antitrust law, who break antitrust laws by price fixing and driving up rents. We've cut red tape so builders can get federally financing, which is already helping build a record 1.7 million new housing units nationwide. Now
we just have to get the LA City Council to approve some of them.
Now pass and build and renovate 2 million affordable homes and bring those rents down.
That's right. That's the city aspect of it. Stuff the president can't do, but it gives financial incentive to cities to do it. Smart.
To remain the strongest economy in the world, we need to have the best education system in the world. And I suspect all of you, want to give every child, a good start by providing access to preschool for 3 and 4 years old. You know, I think I pointed out last year.
Yeah, you stand for the toddlers. Goddamn right.
I think I pointed out last year that children coming from broken homes where there's no books, they're not read to, not spoken to very often, start school, kindergarten, or first grade, having heard 1 million fewer words spoken. Well, studies show that children who go to preschool are nearly 50% more likely to finish high school, go on to earn a 2- and 4-year degree, no matter what their background is.
I do real good. I speak a bunch of woes.
I met a year and a half ago with the leaders of the Business Roundtable. They were mad that they were angry. I think, well, they were discussing why I wanted to spend money on education. I pointed out to them as vice president, I met with over I think it was 182 of those folks. Don't hold me to the exact number. And I asked them what they need most, the CEOs. And you've had the same experience on both sides of the aisle. They say a better educated workforce, right?
They need not dumb people.
And I say, I come from Delaware. DuPont used to be the 8th largest corporation in the world. And every new enterprise they bought, they educated the workforce to that enterprise. But none of you do that anymore. Why are you angry with me providing you the opportunity for the best educated workforce in the world? And they all looked at me and said, I think you're right. I want to expand high-quality tutoring and summer learning to see that every child learns to read by 3rd grade.
Uh-oh. Literacy. Of course Republicans aren't going to stand for that. Fucking books. I knew it.
I'm also connecting local businesses and high schools so students get hands-on experience and a path to a good-paying job, whether or not they go to college. And I want to make sure the college is more affordable. Let's continue increasing the Pell Grants to working and middle-class families and increase record investments in HBCUs and minority-serving institutions, including Hispanic institutions. And I was told I couldn't universally just change the way in which we dealt with student loans. I fixed 2 student loan programs that already existed to reduce the burden of student debt for nearly 4 million Americans, including nurses, firefighters, and others in public service.
I think Mike Johnson's just nodding
Keenan
like,
Jones,
fuck.
a public educator from Minnesota, who's here with us tonight. Keenan, where are you? Keenan, thank you. He's educated hundreds of students so they can go to college. Now he's able to help, after debt forgiveness, get his own daughter to college.
I ain't so sure about this reading business, but I guess I'm for it.
Such relief is good for the economy because folks are now able to buy a home, start a business, start a family. While we're at it, I want to give public school teachers a raise.
Fucking Johnson just nodding like a dumbass, and he can't stand and he can't applaud. That's the other big story to talk. I'm like just telling you what Rachel Maddow's going to talk about
By
after
the way,
this.
the first couple of years we cut the deficit. Now let me speak to the question of fundamental fairness for all Americans. I've been delivering real results in fiscally responsible ways. We've already cut the federal deficit. We've already cut the federal deficit over $1 trillion. I signed the bipartisan deal to cut another $1 trillion in the next decade. It's my goal to cut the federal deficit another $3 trillion by making big corporations and very wealthy finally beginning to pay their fair share.
That's the 15% automatic tax that he and Yellen constructed with other countries so that they couldn't just run off. Everybody's like, if you do that, they'll leave. And they're like, oh no, we'll talk to those countries first.
Make a million or millions of bucks, that's great. Just pay your fair share in taxes. A fair tax code is how we invest things to make this country great. Healthcare, education, defense, and so much more. But here's the deal. The last administration enacted a $2 trillion tax cut, overwhelmingly benefit the top 1%, the very wealthy and the biggest corporations, and exploded the federal deficit. They added more to the national debt than any presidential term in American history. Check the numbers. Folks at home, does anybody really think the tax code is fair? Do you really think the wealthy and big corporations need another $2 trillion tax break? I sure don't. I'm going to keep fighting like hell to make it fair. Under my plan, nobody earning less than $400,000 a year will pay an additional penny in federal taxes. Nobody, not one penny. And they haven't yet.
Rashida Tlaib thinks anybody making over $125,000 is a rich asshole.
Passed during the
So
pandemic,
she's not
cut
quite
taxes
sure.
for millions of
400,000.
working families and cut child poverty in half. Restore that child tax credit. No child should go hungry in this country.
By the way, you can tell how well the speech is going by how miserable the Republicans look,
code fair,
and especially Mike Johnson. He's your
to make
barometer.
big corporations and the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share. Remember in 2020, 55 of the biggest companies in America made $40 billion and paid zero in federal income tax. Zero. Not anymore. Thanks to the law I wrote and we signed, big companies have to pay a minimum of 15%. But that's still less than working people pay in federal taxes. It's time to raise corporate minimum tax to at least 21%.
Look at that, man. He's not fucking around.
So every big corporation finally begins to pay their fair share. I also want to end tax breaks for big pharma, big oil, private jets, massive executive pay when it's only supposed to be $1 million that could be deducted. They can pay them $20 million if they want, but deduct $1 million. End it now. You know, there are 1,000 billionaires in America. You know what the average federal tax is for those billionaires? No. They're making great sacrifices, 8.2%. That's far less than the vast majority of Americans pay. No billionaire should pay a lower federal tax rate than a teacher, a sanitation worker, or a nurse.
By the way, that's after they hide all their money everywhere and have a lot of, I mean, most of them have S corps or C corps, that kind of stuff. They pay themselves a salary. Like
minimum tax for billionaires
even with
at
that.
25%, just 25%. You know what that would raise? That would raise $500 billion over the next 10 years. And imagine what that could do for America. Imagine a future with affordable child care. Millions of families can get they need to go to work to help grow the economy. Imagine a future with paid leave, because no one should have to choose between working and taking care of their sick family member. Imagine the future of home care and elder care.
He's basically just taking everything that Trump says, I can't believe he's doing
so they
this,
can stay in their homes
and leaning
family
in.
Caregivers can finally get the pay they deserve. Tonight, let's all agree once again to stand up for seniors. Many of my friends on the other side of the aisle want to put Social Security on the chopping block. If anyone here tries to cut Social Security, Medicare, or raise the retirement age, I will stop you. The working people who built this country pay more into Social Security than millionaires and billionaires do. It's not fair. We have two ways to go. Republicans can cut Social Security and give more tax breaks to the wealthy. That's the proposal. Oh no, you guys don't want another $2 trillion tax cut? I kind of thought that's what your plan was. Well, that's good to hear.
You did
You're
it again.
Not going to cut another $2 trillion for the super wealth. That's good to hear. I'll protect and strengthen Social Security and make the wealthy pay their fair share.
They walk into it. He does it every time.
Look.
Like, that's your proposal. You don't want that proposal? Excellent. They committed to it tonight. They did it again.
Corporations raise prices to pad their profits, charging more and more for less and less. That's why we're cracking down on corporations that engage in price gouging and deceptive pricing, from food to health care to housing. In fact, the snack companies think you won't notice if they change the size of the bag and put a hell of a lot fewer, same size bag, put fewer chips in it. No, I'm not joking. It's called shrinkflation. Pass Bobby Casey's bill and stop this. I really mean it.
Like kitchen table issues, and then there's like living room couch issues. This is the first living room couch
issue.
issue.
I saw that commercial on Snickers bars. you get charged the same amount, and you got about, I don't know, 10% fewer Snickers in it. Look, I'm also getting rid of junk fees. Those hidden fees at the end of your
Taylor
bill,
Swift
they're
bill.
there without your knowledge. My administration announced we're cutting credit card late fees from $32 to $8. Banks and credit card companies are allowed to charge what it costs them to instigate the collection. And that's more a hell of a lot like $8 and 30-some dollars. They don't like it. The credit card companies don't like it. But I'm saving American families $20 billion a year with all the junk fees I'm eliminating. Folks at home, that's why the banks are so mad. It's $20 billion in profit. I'm not stopping there. My administration has proposed rules to make cable, travel, utilities, and online ticket sellers tell you the total price up front so there are no surprises. It matters.
Yep.
It matters. And so does this. In November, my team began serious negotiation with a bipartisan group of senators. The result was a bipartisan bill with the toughest set of border security reforms we've ever seen. Oh, you don't think so? Oh, you don't like that bill, huh? That conservatives got together and said it was a good bill? I'll be darned. That's amazing. That bipartisan bill would hire 1,500 more security agents and officers, 100 more immigration judges to help tackle the backload of 2 million cases, 4,300 more asylum officers, and new policies so they can resolve cases in 6 months instead of 6 years now.
It's true. That's Langford. He's part of the bill.
What are you against? 100 more high-tech drug detection machines to significantly increase the ability to screen and stop vehicles smuggling fentanyl into America. That's killing thousands of children.
Yep.
This bill would save lives and bring order to the border. It will also give me and any new president new emergency authority to temporarily shut down the border when the number of migrants at the border is overwhelming. The Border Patrol Union has endorsed
That's the problem,
this bill.
Though. They want it to be
The
overwhelming.
Federal
so they can
Chamber
run
of
on it.
Commerce is, yeah. You're saying low. Look at the facts. I know you know how to read.
Oh, shit. I don't, actually.
I believe that given the opportunity for a majority in the House and Senate would endorse the bill as well, a majority right now. But unfortunately, politics has derailed this bill so far. I'm told my predecessor called members of Congress and the Senate to demand they block the bill. He feels political win, he viewed it as a political win for me and a political loser for him. It's not about him, it's not about me. I'd be a winner, not really.
Yeah, there's Marge.
Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of the thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand. But look, if we change the dynamic at the border, people pay these smugglers $8,000 to get across the border because they know if they get by and let into the country, it's 6 to 8 years before they have a hearing. And it's worth taking the chance of the $8,000. But if it's only 6 weeks, the idea is it's highly unlikely that people will pay that money and come all that way knowing that they'll be able to be kicked out quickly. Folks, I would respectfully suggest my Republican friends owe it to the American people, get this bill done. We need to act now.
Marge handed it to him. He said her name. He expressed sympathy for her and said, they're letting these people come across. Fuck.
And if my predecessor is watching, instead of paying politics and pressuring members of Congress to block the bill, join me and telling the Congress to pass it. We can do it together. But that's what he apparently, here's what he will not do. I will not demonize immigrants saying they are poison in the blood of our country. I will not separate families. I will not ban people because of their faith. Unlike my predecessor on my first day in office, I introduced a comprehensive bill to fix our immigration system. Take a look at it. It has all these and more. Secure the border. Provide a pathway to citizenship for dreamers, and so much more. But unlike my predecessor,
Trump wants to drive them out. That's part of the.
I know who we are as Americans.
Yeah.
We're the only nation in the world with a heart and soul that draws from old and new. Home to Native Americans, whose ancestors have been here for thousands of years. Home to people of every place, from every place on earth. They came freely. Some came in chains. Some came when famine struck, like my ancestral family in Ireland. Some to flee persecution, to chase dreams that are impossible anywhere but here in America. That's America. And we all come from somewhere, but we're all Americans. Look, folks, we have a simple choice. We can fight about fixing the border, or we can fix it.
Nice.
I'm ready to fix it. Send me the border bill now.
Well, Channing, fix it. There you go.
A transformational moment in history happened 59 years ago today in Selma, Alabama. Hundreds of foot soldiers for justice marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, named after the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan, to claim their fundamental right to vote. They were beaten, they were bloody, and left for dead. Our late friend and former colleague, John Lewis, was on that march. We miss him.
Also, just stand the fuck up. You could, yeah, Jesus Christ, dude. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Joining us tonight, our other marchers, both in the gallery and on the floor, including Betty Mae Fikes, known as the voice of Selma, the daughter of gospel singers and preachers. She sang songs of prayer and protest on that bloody Sunday to help shake the nation's conscience. 5 months later, the Voting Rights Act passed and was signed into law.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Don't stand if you're not for it, motherfucker. Don't stand if you're not for it. Republicans standing up right now voted to stop it.
59 years later, there are forces taking us back in time. Voter suppression, election subversion, unlimited dark money, extreme gerrymandering. John Lewis is a great friend to many of us here. But if you truly want to honor him and all the heroes who marched with him, then it's time to do more than talk. Pass the Freedom to Vote Act, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. And stop denying another core value of America, our diversity across American life. Banning books, it's wrong. Instead of erasing history, let's make history.
There we go.
I want to
All right, that's
protect
good
fundamental rights. Pass the Equality Act. And my message to transgender Americans, I have your back. Pass the PRO Act for workers' rights. Raise the federal minimum wage, because every worker has a right to a decent living more than $7 an hour. We're also making history by confronting the climate crisis, not denying it. I don't think any of you think there's no longer a climate crisis. At least I hope you don't. I'm taking the most significant action ever on
funding.
climate in the history of the world.
Florida and Texas.
I'm cutting our carbon emissions in half by 2030, creating tens of thousands of clean energy jobs like the IBEW work is building and installing 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations. Conserving 30% of America's lands and waters by 2030. And taking action on environmental justice fence line communities smothered by the legacy of pollution. And patterned after the Peace Corps and AmeriCorps, I launched the Climate Corps to put 20,000 young people to work in the forefront of our clean energy future. I'll triple that number in a decade.
He's not fucking around. This is a good one.
Obvious. All Americans deserve the freedom to be safe. And America is safer today than when I took office. Year before I took office, murder rates went up 30%. 30% they went up. The biggest increase in history. It was then, through my American Rescue Plan, which every
That guy
American
just yelled
voted
United
against,
States Marines 3 times.
we made the largest investment in public safety ever. Last year, the murder rate saw the sharpest decrease in history. Violent crime fell to one of its lowest levels in more than 50 years. But we have more to do. We have to help cities invest in more community police officers, more mental health workers, more community violence intervention. Give communities the tool to crack down on gun crime, retail crime, and carjacking. Keep building trust, as I've been doing by taking executive action on police reform and calling for it to be the law of the land. Directing my cabinet to review the federal classification of marijuana and expunging thousands of convictions for the mere possession, because no one should be jailed for simply using or have it on their record. Take on crimes of domestic violence. I'm ramping up the federal enforcement of the Violence Against Women Act that I proudly wrote when I was a senator, so we can finally end the scourge against women in America.
Which also includes, by the way, the reason they hate it is because it stops guys who were, men specifically, from getting guns that they've been
with us tonight
found
is
guilty of domestic
Jasmine.
violence for a period of time.
His 9-year-old sister Jackie was murdered with 21 classmates and teachers in an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. Very soon after that happened, Jill and I went to Uvalde for a couple of days. We spent hours and hours with each of the families. We heard their message, so everyone in this room, in this chamber, could hear the same message. The constant refrain, and I was there for hours meeting with every family. They said, do something. Do something. Well, I did do something by establishing the first ever Office of Gun Violence Prevention in the White House, that the Vice President is leading the charge. Thank you for doing it. Meanwhile, my predecessor told the NRA he's proud he did nothing on guns when he was president.
That's right, he literally said that.
After another shooting in Iowa recently, he said, when asked what to do about it, he said, just get over it. There's his quote, just get over it. I say, stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. I'm proud we beat the NRA when I signed the most significant gun safety law in nearly 30 years because of this Congress. We now must beat the NRA again. I'm demanding a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. Pass universal background checks. None of this. I taught the Second Amendment for 12 years. None of this violates the Second Amendment or vilifies responsible gun owners. You know, as we manage challenges at home, we're also managing crises abroad, including in the Middle East. I know the last 5 months have been gut-wrenching for so many people, for the Israeli people, for the Palestinian people, and so many here in America. This crisis began on October 7th with a massacre by a terrorist group called Hamas, as you all know. 1,200 innocent people, women and girls, men and boys, slaughtered after enduring sexual violence. The deadliest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust, and 250 hostages taken. Here in this chamber tonight are families whose loved ones are still being held by Hamas. I pledge to all the families that we will not rest until we bring every one of your loved ones home. We also
That'll stand for it. Nothing to do with helping American families, but okay, I'll take it, you know. Beats the alternative, I guess.
To bring home Evan and Paul, Americans being unjustly detained by the Russians and others around the world. Israel has the right to go after Hamas. Hamas ended this conflict by releasing hostages, laying down arms, could end it by releasing the hostages, laying down arms, and surrendering those responsible for October 7th. But Israel has Israel has a added burden because Hamas hides and operates among the civilian population like cowards, under hospitals, daycare centers, and all the like. Israel also has a fundamental responsibility, though, to protect innocent civilians in Gaza. This war has taken a greater toll on innocent civilians than all previous wars in Gaza combined. More than 30,000 Palestinians have been killed, most of whom are not Hamas. Thousands and thousands of innocent women and children, girls and boys, also orphaned. Nearly 2 million more Palestinians under bombardment or displacement. Homes destroyed, neighborhoods in rubble, cities in ruin. Families without food, water, medicine. It's heartbreaking. I've been working nonstop to establish an immediate ceasefire that would last for 6 weeks to get all the prisoners released, all the hostages released, to get the hostages home and ease the intolerable and humanitarian crisis and build toward an enduring, something more enduring. The United States has been leading international efforts to get more humanitarian assistance to Gaza.
We had one, and
tonight,
it ended on October 7th.
I'm directing the U.S. military to lead an emergency mission to establish a temporary pier in the Mediterranean on the coast of Gaza that can receive large shipments carrying food, water, medicine, and temporary shelters. No U.S. boots will be on the ground. A temporary pier will enable a massive increase in the amount of humanitarian assistance getting into Gaza every day.
Wow. Basically doing like a World War II version of a land drop.
And Israel must do its part. Israel must allow more aid into Gaza to ensure humanitarian workers aren't caught in the crossfire. And they're announcing they're going to have a crossing in northern Gaza. For the leadership of Israel, I say this: humanitarian assistance cannot be a secondary consideration or a bargaining chip. Protecting and saving innocent lives has to be a priority. As we look to the future, the only real solution to the situation is a
We don't send them bombs.
over time.
Send them missiles for the Iron Dome. Unless you're talking about water pipes. But a fan, it's good. Bring a fan. Yeah, that's good.
As a
like
lifelong
Marge's
supporter
button.
of Israel, my entire career, no one has a stronger record with Israel than I do. I challenge any of you here. I'm the only American president of Israel in wartime. But there is no other path that guarantees Israel's security and democracy. There is no other path that guarantees Palestinians can live in peace with peace and dignity. And there's no other path that guarantees peace between Israel and all of its neighbors, including Saudi Arabia, with whom I'm talking. Creating stability in the Middle East also means containing the threat posed by Iran. That's why I built a coalition of more than a dozen countries to defend international shipping and freedom of navigation in the Red Sea. I've ordered strikes to degrade the Houthi capability and defend U.S. forces in the region. As Commander-in-Chief, I will not hesitate to direct further measures to protect our people and our military personnel.
Houthis killed three merchant seamen today or yesterday.
I've heard many of my Republican and Democratic friends say that China is on the rise.
Well,
and America's falling behind.
Well,
they've got it backwards.
Uh-huh.
I've been saying it for over 4 years, even when I wasn't president. America's rising. We have the best economy in the world. And since I've come to office, our GDP is up, our trade deficit with China is down to the lowest point in over a decade. And we're standing up against China's unfair economic practices. We're standing up for peace and stability across the Taiwan Straits. I've revitalized our partnership and alliance in the Pacific. India, Australia, Japan, South Korea, Pacific Islands. I've made sure that the most advanced American technologies can't be used in China, not allowing to trade them there. Frankly, for all this tough talk on China, it never occurred to my predecessor to do any of that.
Right. What I say, they're listening.
With China, not conflict. And we're in a stronger position to win the conflict of the 21st century against China than anyone else, for that matter, than any time as well. Here at home, I've signed over 400 bipartisan bills, but there's more to pass my unity agenda. Strengthen penalties on fentanyl trafficking. You don't want to do that, huh? Pass bipartisan privacy legislation to protect our children online. Harness the promise of AI to protect us from peril. Ban AI voice impersonations and more. And keep our truly sacred obligation to train and equip those we send into harm's way and care for them and their families when they come home and when they don't.
Stand up, you dumb motherfucker. You don't have to agree with it. Like, again, why would you sit for that? Why?
The song Support and Help of Dennis and the VA, I signed the PACT Act. One of the most significant laws ever, helping millions of veterans exposed to toxins who now are battling more than 100 different cancers. Many of them don't come home, but we owe them and their families support. We owe it to ourselves to keep supporting our new health research agency called ARPA-H. And remind us that we can do big things, like end cancer as we know it, and we will.
Good Lord. Like why not stand for ending cancer? Like, why is that a partisan thing for him? I'm dead serious.
Yay.
In the past.
I know you don't want to hear any more, Lindsay, but I got to say a few more things. I know it may not look like it, but I've been around a while. When you get to be my age, certain things become clearer than ever. I know the American story. Again and again, I've seen the contest between competing forces in the battle for the soul of our nation, between those who want to pull America back to the past and those who want to move America into the future. My lifetime has taught me to embrace freedom and democracy, a future based on core values that have defined America: honesty, decency, dignity, equality, to respect everyone, to give everyone a fair shot, to give hate no safe harbor. Now, other people my age see it differently. The American story of resentment, revenge, and retribution, that's not me. I was born amid World War II, when America stood for the freedom of the world. I grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claymont, Delaware, among working-class people who built this country. I watched in horror as two of my heroes, like many of you did, Dr. King and Bobby Kennedy, were assassinated. And their legacies inspired me to pursue a career in service. I left the law firm and became a public defender because my city of Wilmington was the only city in America occupied by the National Guard after Dr. King was assassinated because of the riots. And I became a county councilman almost by accident. I got elected to the United States Senate when I had no intention of running at age 29. Then vice president of our first black president. Now president to the first women vice president.
She can stand for that. Stand up for her, you dumb motherfucker. It's the first. Again, there's no reason for him to sit on some of these things. He can be gracious.
In my
Fucking Moses.
career, I've been told I was too young. By the way, they didn't let me on the Senate elevators for votes sometimes. Not a joke. And I've been told I'm too old. Whether young or old, I've always known what endures. I've known our North Star. The very idea of America is that we're all created equal and deserves to be treated equally throughout our lives. We've never fully lived up to that idea, but we've never walked away from it either. And I won't walk away from it now.
See, he's been somebody in the speechwriting thing's been watching me and Phil.
I'm optimistic, Nancy. My fellow Americans, the issue facing our nation isn't how old we are, it's how old are our ideas. Hate, anger, revenge, retribution are the oldest of ideas. But you can't lead America with ancient ideas that only take us back. You lead America, the land of possibilities. You need a vision for the future and what can and should be done. Tonight you've heard mine. I see a future where defending democracy, you don't diminish it. I see a future where we restore the right to choose and protect our freedoms, not take them away. I see a future where the middle class finally has a fair shot and the wealthy have to pay their fair share in taxes. I see a future where we save the planet from the climate crisis and our country from gun violence. Above all, I see a future for all Americans. I see a country for all Americans. And I will always be president for all Americans because I believe in America. I believe in you, the American people. You're the reason we've never been more optimistic about our future than I am now. So let's build the future together. Let's remember who we are. We are the United States of America. And there is nothing beyond our capacity when we act together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Going off to the Republican side. Look at that. He walked in through the Democratic side. And instead of going back out that way first, he went over and shook some hands over there. And there we have it, kids. Rock solid. I gotta say, chat room, I'll keep him up there for a minute as he's walking out, but he's still... Now, this is where Joe Rogan and his buddies will all say he's talking to nobody because he's talking to somebody off camera. That was rock solid. There were a bunch of places I was surprised he went there right away. He did not bring up 3.7% unemployment. He didn't dunk on the actual numbers. He just said strongest economy in the world. Like, instead of going for the that line. I'll come and campaign for you or again you, whatever will help the most. He's shaking Bernie's hand. Bernie, why was Bernie not wearing his mask in the beginning and then he was wearing one, and now he's not wearing one again when he's talking to the president. I don't understand. That's masking for show. Yep. That is the general tenor. There you go. Hi, chat room. Thanks for sticking with me. I was not planning on being live for the whole thing, but it was great. Again, there are going to be a couple of lines. I'm going to let you guys go now because I know you're going to want to watch Rachel and all them talk about it, and they're going to go over the exact same lines that I pointed out to you and all that shit. But I would like to point out, if I may, that the White House, someone in the White House is clearly watching my show. And you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Just saying. And to that person, I say thank you. You're probably sitting next to the designated survivor right now. I appreciate it. You guys are lovely. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. And I think Texas Paul's going to join us on Saturday. But we'll see who our guests are tomorrow. I'll see you in the morning. Okay. Bye. This has been the State of the Union. Your host, Hal Sparks. Don't forget to hit that like on your way out the door, everybody. And stay strong and enjoy the fight for democracy and all the fun stuff. And patreon.com/Hal Sparks. Real bits. Subscribe. Forget that. Friday AI tomorrow. We'll talk about AI and all that kind of stuff. Oh, and Hal forgot to push the button that makes the credits go. To let everybody know. Thanks for the super chats. Everybody who's given a super chat or a super thanks. Bless your heart. Thank you. You keep the show afloat. And thank you to all our patrons. And Tina, thanks for liking the stream. That's baseline. Everybody can do that. Hit that like and help us grow our base. Let people know you saw it, you liked it, you recommend the show to other people, and make all the people who subscribe to Midas come over here. Just click a button, for God's sake. Half of them. Do us a favor. Okay, there you go. Thank you guys so much. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, Blue Moon. Thank you so much. Thanks, Barbara. Thank you guys so much for the cheers and for the support tonight. Great hanging with you guys.